What's it like to date a female university professor? What's it like to be pampered by a professor? On the first day of school at Magic University, Muziah Omo had an encounter with her university professor, Mu Baining. Even though they didn't know each other yet, she snuggled into Muziah Omo's arms and acted coquettishly. Honey, honey, I love you so much. You have to stay with me from now on. I love you so much. After regaining consciousness, Muziah Omo was completely bewildered. What was going on? Was she being pestered by a university professor? Just now, inside the boys' dormitory, three boys were huddled together, staring lewdly at their phone screens, their faces almost pressed against them. Wow, is this our counselor? She's so beautiful. Wow, Tilda, she has a great figure and a beautiful face. Those fiery red lips and those breasts, they're probably a 36D, right? Definitely, maybe even a 36E. A heart suit, letter 1D17 heart suit. Today is September 1st, the start of the new semester for freshmen at Shanghai University of Science and Technology. At that moment, the three boys in the dormitory were looking at their counselor, Mu Baining. In the photo, Mu Baining is wearing a white shirt and a black pencil skirt, looking every bit the mature and sophisticated woman. Not only does she have a hot figure and fair skin, but she is also exceptionally beautiful, just like the leading ladies in some movies. The photos alone are enough to get your blood pumping. Brothers, I'm going to the restroom. Brother Tao, give me some toilet paper. Bai Yuntao tossed the toilet paper to Huang Wengsu, then started browsing Mu Baining's WeChat moments. Meanwhile, on another bed in the dormitory, a very handsome boy curiously clicked into the class group and opened Mu Baining's moments. Muziah Omo was stunned when she saw her photo. Sigh, this woman looks familiar. Damn, isn't this the woman who lured him to the cheap hotel last night? They almost sent him to jail. It all started last night. Last night, Muziah Omo arrived in Shanghai a day early. Feeling bored, she went to a bar to have a few drinks. He had barely sat down when a woman in a shirt suddenly approached him, challenging him to a drinking contest. She had a great figure, stunning looks, and was wearing the black stockings that men love most. Muziah Omo agreed without even thinking. To his surprise, the woman had an unusually high alcohol tolerance. Even he, who was known as the little god of wine, was drunk and passed out. Then this morning when he woke up, he suddenly found his hand on something soft. When I came to my senses, I was surprised to see a beautiful woman in black stockings lying next to me. Isn't this the girl I drank with last night? How come I was inexplicably lured to a cheap hotel by her? Muziah Omo was startled by this scene, and her first reaction was to touch her kidneys. Luckily, my kidneys were still intact and hadn't been cut. Otherwise, I would have suffered a huge loss. This was the first time something like this had happened, and Muziah Omo prepared to run away without thinking. What if this guy was setting a honey trap? She'd be doomed. Just as he was about to leave, the beautiful woman beside him suddenly hugged him, buried her head in his chest, and said in a coquettish tone, "Honey, honey, I love you so much. You have to stay with me, okay?" Then she woke up. Mu Baining was also startled when she opened her eyes, and her first reaction was to call the police. She said he slept with her. Sleep my ass. You took me to a small hotel and nothing happened, so why are you calling the police? They're trying to get him arrested. It took a full half-hour of explanation before the latter gave up the idea of calling the police. Then she threw 5 banknotes at Muziah Omo's face and left in her high heels. Muziah Omo stood there stunned. What? What would you do with 500 yuan? Is this considered payment for sex? What the hell? He inexplicably slept with a woman, and she even gave him 500 yuan in the end. Muziah Omo felt that her dignity had been trampled on. Seeing the photos on her phone, Muziah Omo realized how damn small the world is. This girl is actually his college advisor, and she's also so beautiful. That's outrageous, but we have to ask him about the 500 yuan he gave us. What do you mean? Do you think I need your 500 yuan? On the other side, in the faculty and staff office of Shanghai University of Science and Technology, Mu Baining slowly sat down in her office chair, rubbing her heavy head. During the summer vacation, she was pressured by her family to get married. Her mother kept urging her to go on blind dates. Even after she started working, she still frequently received calls urging her to get married, which made her feel extremely bad. Yesterday, after drinking 2 bottles of beer, I still felt bored, so I went to a bar in a daze. In her memory, she saw a rather handsome young man, and inexplicably wanted to challenge him to a drinking contest. Perhaps because she had drunk too much, she didn't know what was going on, and she unwittingly brought the handsome young man to a small hotel. Normally, she wouldn't dare even if she had 10 times the courage. She has always been quite conservative, never been in a relationship, still has her first kiss, and has never even held hands with a man. I rarely drink alcohol, let alone go to bars. This happened on my first time at a bar. I was so careless I didn't dodge. Thankfully, nothing happened. Otherwise, I would have suffered a huge loss. Could it be because I've been single for too long? Should I find a boyfriend? After thinking about it carefully, Mew Baining had to admit that the boy was indeed very handsome, with both his physique and looks being top-notch. With that kind of looks, he'd definitely be considered a campus heartthrob at Magic University. Mew Baining shook her head, feeling that she had overthought things. Anyway, the matter was over. What she did last night was definitely wrong, and it may even have caused psychological trauma to that handsome young man. However, I gave him 500 yuan as compensation for his emotional distress. Anyway, we'll never see each other again, so why think so much? Today is the first day of school at Shanghai University of Science and Technology, and she still has a lot of work to do. Mew Baining turned on her computer. By this time, most of the new students in her class had already registered. Only a few people are missing. As she flipped through her classmates' files, her slender fingers scrolled the mouse wheel, and just then, a familiar face suddenly appeared in her eyes. Mew Baining's pupils focused on the computer screen as she opened his profile and confirmed it again and again. Wasn't this the handsome young man she had a drinking contest with last night? Mew Baining was stunned. Is he a freshman at Shanghai University of Science and Technology this year? Is her name Mew Xiaomo? Depend on. At this moment, Mew Baining suddenly felt very panicked. Although I gave him 500 yuan, I threw the money directly in his face. I was in a bad mood at the time, so I just used it as a way to vent my emotions. I never imagined he was my student. What if Mew Xiaomo tells everyone what happened last night, or even spreads it around? Damn, her persona is about to collapse. What to do? I'm so panicked, TT. Chapter 2, System Activation, Perfect Life System. In the dormitory, after Huang Wenxu finished relieving himself in the toilet, his expression turned lewd again. Hey guys, someone in the freshman group said there are a lot of pretty girls on the playground, all with fair skin, beautiful faces, and long legs. Let's go and feast our eyes. I'm not going. Bai Yuntao was still admiring Mew Baining's photos, holding his phone tightly as if he were holding Mew Baining in the palm of his hand. My heart belongs entirely to Professor Mew. I long to lie in her arms and have her call me husband. Come on, give me a break. Huang Wenxu rolled his eyes and continued. Don't disgust me. You're not even as handsome as me. If you were lying in Professor Mew's arms, it wouldn't be your turn. Bullshit, I'm the Daniel Wu of Sichuan. I am Eddie Peng from Qinghai. By this time, his two roommates had already come to regard Mew Baining as their goddess. Mew Xiaomo sighed helplessly. Little did they know, the goddess they had been longing for was already lying in his arms calling him husband this morning. Just as Mew Xiaomo was lost in thought, an electronic voice suddenly came to his mind. Ding, congratulations, host. You have activated the perfect life system. What was that sound? Mew Xiaomo jolted awake and almost fell off the bed. Immediately afterwards, a virtual screen unfolded in front of him. Hello, host. I am the perfect life system, number 3. From now on, I will serve you and help you reach the pinnacle of life. His tilde-A system, reaching the pinnacle of life. Mew Xiaomo didn't react for a moment. Just then, the system's voice came again. Congratulations, host, for unlocking the mission function. The system will release tasks at irregular intervals. Completing the tasks will earn you random rewards, skills, items, cash. Current task, try to make Mew Baining your girlfriend. As long as she is willing to give you a chance to get to know her, the perfect life system will be activated. Congratulations, host, you have received the newbie gift pack. Would you like to use it? Yes. Mew Xiaomo chose yes without thinking. Congratulations, host, your appearance has increased by 3. Congratulations, host. You have received 100,000 RMB. The following is your information. Host Mew Xiaomo. Height 182 cm. Age 19. Appearance 100 out of 100, but the average appearance of readers is plus infinity. Cash balance 103,350. Mew Xiaomo was stunned when she saw the data above. Give him 100,000 yuan. This made Mew Xiaomo feel very happy. That was awesome. The question is, did they actually give it to them? He quickly pulled out his pair brand phone. Just then, my phone received a text message. Your card number ending in 6391 received a cash transfer of 100,000 yuan at 10:59 a.m. on September 1st. Your current balance is 103,350 yuan. ICBC Savings Account, Huaxia Industrial and Commercial Bank. Upon seeing this message, Mu Xiaomo was overjoyed. They had really arrived. Then he had a second thought. Guide to winning over Mu Baining. Torture? That's too much torture. Who doesn't love a mature woman in black stockings? If I could actually win her over, that would be so wonderful. Of course, most importantly, it can activate the system. As for what happened today, although it was a bit outrageous, it triggered the medium and activated the system, which was pretty satisfying. Just then, his roommate, Bai Yuntao, patted the edge of the bed. Xiaomo, what are you laughing at? Wait, why do I feel like you've gotten a lot more handsome? Bai Yuntao was slightly taken aback. To be honest, he thought Mu Xiaomo was very handsome at first glance, but after looking at Mu Baining's WeChat moments, he felt that Mu Xiaomo had become even more handsome. His facial features seem more defined, and his eyes have become much deeper. If he were a woman, she would definitely pursue him. When have I ever been ugly? Mu Xiaomo was so smug that his looks were now a perfect 100, and even his roommates noticed the change. Hee, that's true. Bai Yuntao couldn't help but say, with looks like that, it would be a shame not to find a girlfriend for your second brother. Brother Mo, try to find a girlfriend soon. No problem. Mu Xiaomo nodded, but Bai Yuntao's gaze never left his face. If you really can't find it, it's not impossible to come to me. What? Mu Xiaomo was stunned. Good heavens, this Bai Yuntao wanted to fencing with him. Mu Xiaomo rolled her eyes. Get lost, I'm not gay. Just kidding. Bai Yuntao waved his hand. Let's go have lunch together. The class meeting is at 2:30 this afternoon. Let's go early and sit in the first row so we can have a good look at Professor Mu. Okay. Mu Xiaomo agreed without hesitation. After all, he also wanted to see Mu Baining, or rather his future girlfriend, again. He jumped out of bed and left the dormitory with his 3 roommates. At 1:40 p.m., Mu Xiaomo and his 3 roommates left the dormitory and headed towards the teaching building. At this moment, the campus of Shanghai University of Science and Technology is filled with a vibrant atmosphere, and the college life that the freshmen have been looking forward to begins from this moment. It seemed to be the time for a meeting organized by the college, and many students walked together toward the teaching building. The female students around me were all dressed very lightly, showing off their white thighs, which had become a common sight on campus. Meanwhile, many girls have already noticed Mu Xiaomo, and some have even started whispering among themselves. Wow, look at that handsome guy over there. Yes, he's so good looking. Oh well, I'm not good enough for him. Hey sis, can you get my WeChat ID for me? I'm a coward. Mu Xiaomo heard many girls' voices, but of course, she ignored them. After all, his current task is to win over his professor, Mu Baining. Hey, brother Mo, there are a lot of girls around looking at you. Why don't you take this opportunity to flirt with them? Huang Wengsu said lecherously as he approached. Mu Xiaomo shook her head. If you're not interested, then stop talking nonsense. Just then, Bai Yuntao tidied his bird's nest-like hair, took out a small mirror, and looked at his face. Old Huang, maybe those women aren't looking at Mu Xiaomo, but at me. Upon hearing this, Huang Wengsu said disdainfully, You, forget it. Bai Yuntao, no, I put on BB cream which covered up all my acne scars. Don't I look handsome? Tisk, wearing makeup. So girly Misaka Mikoto Tilda. The 2 of them bickered for a little while, and after 5 or 6 minutes, they went up to the teaching building together. When I took the elevator to the 6th floor and entered classroom 601, I found that not many people had arrived yet. There were seats available in the first row, and the 4 of them quickly sat down. After taking their seats, Bai Yuntao and Huang Wengsu opened Mu Baining's WeChat moments. Without WeChat friends, they can only see the 10 most recent posts, but even those 10 posts have been viewed no less than 100 times. There's no way around it. Professor Mu is just too captivating. I just don't know what the real person looks like. As long as it's not a fake photo, that's fine. Soon, more and more students filled the classroom, and Mu Xiaomo was surprised to find that there were 56 people in his class, but only 4 of them were girls. That's too little, but he didn't think much of it, since he wasn't going to date any of the girls in his class anyway. Before long, the classroom was filled with buzzing discussions. Of course, most people were talking about Mu Baining. Mu Baining was so beautiful and sexy that probably all the boys in the class had seen her WeChat moments. I wonder if Professor Mu is really as good-looking as he looks in the photos. I wonder if she's aloof or not, and whether she'll wear black stockings today. After Professor Mew arrives, I'd better do my best and try to become the class monitor so I can go play with her whenever I want. You want to hang out with her? Something's not right with you. About 20 minutes later, suddenly the crisp clatter of high heels came from the doorway. Upon hearing the sound, the students who had been whispering in the class immediately fell silent. All 52 boys present stared intently at the doorway. Bai Yuntao said in a lewd tone, Professor Mew is here. Heart suit, letter 1D17, heart suit. Chapter 3, he's so handsome he must be a scumbag. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the classroom door. They didn't even dare to blink. Finally, a beautiful figure entered the classroom, and everyone present, including the girls, was captivated by her stunning appearance. Just like in the photo, Mew Baining is wearing a white long-sleeved shirt, a black pencil skirt, black patent leather high heels, and black stockings. She is estimated to be 1.75 meters tall, with long, wavy hair and a curvaceous figure. She wore light makeup and bright red lipstick. Her eyes were cold, yet she revealed a faint smile that instantly captured the hearts of all the boys present. More importantly, Mew Baining is not only good-looking, but also has a mysterious, mature charm. With her fair skin and stunning looks, her beauty surpasses that of currently popular female celebrities. No man with normal development can resist it. At this moment, many students present took a deep breath. Beautiful, so beautiful, breathtakingly beautiful. The boys in the class, seeing this, acted as if they'd never seen a woman before. Their eyes all turned. Letter 1AA, heart suit, epsilon, heart suit, esh. The allure of black stockings is simply irresistible. Who could resist a university professor like that? Bai Yuntao, who was to Mew Xiaomo's left, couldn't help but nudge his arm. Wow, tilde Professor Mew. Professor Mew is so beautiful. As he spoke, drool dripped from his mouth. Mew Xiaomo looked disgusted. His drool was all over his arm. This shirt was a Dashabi brand, and it cost him 399 yuan. After wiping it off, Mew Baining had already arrived at the first row of tables. Seeing that the students in her class were all behaving like obedient lambs, Mew Baining was in a good mood. Because she didn't see Mew Xiaomo, Mew Baining was secretly delighted, thinking that she had misread the information this morning. After all, it wasn't uncommon for people to look very similar. You must be seeing things. How could the world be so small? But she lowered her head. He and Mew Xiaomo made eye contact. The two stared at each other, wide-eyed. Startled, Mew Baining quickly looked away. Depend on... No way. It really is him. Mew Xiaomo, the man who inexplicably lured him to a small hotel, was the one who slept with him. Upon seeing Mew Xiaomo, Mew Baining felt a sense of unease. I feel like I've completely lost face. Why did I end up going to a bar last night in such a confused state? Why did I suddenly throw 500 yuan in his face this morning? I don't know if he told anyone about it. She shook her head, took a deep breath, and tried to calm herself down. At the same time, Mew Xiaomo looked fierce when she saw Mew Baining. Yes, it's her. She snuggled in his arms and acted coquettishly this morning. He even said he slept with her and almost got himself arrested. Thinking of this, Mew Xiaomo's face darkened. However, I must say Mew Baining is truly beautiful. She's 1.75 meters tall in high heels, and even without the heels, she's still at least 1.7 meters tall. The area below the collarbone is also quite large. Mew Xiaomo, who frequently watches adult films, said that he likes this type of movie. So elegant, because Mew Baining triggered the system. Mew Xiaomo didn't want to dwell on what happened this morning. After all, you need to leave a good impression. Ding, congratulations to the host for meeting Mew Baining again. At that moment, the system's voice came through. Mew Xiaomo was slightly taken aback. Good heavens, the system has been activated. Congratulations, host, for activating the guidance function. Guidance function following the system's instructions allows for faster mutual understanding. Friendly reminder, this is your first meeting in some sense, so please make sure to make a good impression on her. This will help you get along better in the future. Strategy guide. Successfully being elected class monitor will give you more opportunities to spend time with Mew Baining in the future. Upon seeing the system's message, Mew Xiaomo was overjoyed once again. Wow, they've even added a guidance feature. According to the system, how can I increase the mutual favorability between the two parties? After shutting down the system, Mew Xiaomo regained her composure and looked up at Mew Baining again. At this moment, Mew Baining's expression had become extremely cold. Her expression revealed no emotion whatsoever. She was completely like an ice queen, but it's still very pleasing to the eye. The more she does this, the more the boys in the class like her. However, none of the students dared to speak. I must make a good impression and be elected class monitor. After a moment, Mu Baining finally began to speak. She tried her best not to think about what might happen with Mu Xiaomo and said, "Hello everyone, welcome to Shanghai University of Science and Technology. I am your counselor, Mu Baining. At the same time, I am also your professor for your major courses." Good. Awesome. Splash, splash, splash. Splash, splash, splash. As soon as Mu Baining finished speaking, the students became restless. Some people even started whistling. They were all incredibly excited. "All right, everyone, quiet down." Mu Baining glanced at Mu Xiaomo out of the corner of her eye, her emotions still unable to calm down. Upon hearing Mu Baining's voice, the class fell silent as everyone continued to admire Mu Baining's straight legs. Mu Baining said, "Now, please introduce yourselves. Then I need to select a temporary class monitor. If you are interested, you can share your thoughts. Start with the students in the first row." While speaking, Mu Baining never looked directly at Mu Xiaomo. She felt incredibly conflicted, fearing that Mu Xiaomo might speak without thinking and reveal what happened that morning. Soon, Mu Baining gave up his seat, and the first person to go on stage and introduce himself was his roommate, Huang Wengsu. Huang Wengsu, just like his surname, is very. Of course, he also had the ambition to be the class monitor. After taking the stage, Huang Wengsu began, "Hello everyone, my name is Huang Wengsu. Just like my surname, I am very." Huang Wengsu and Bai Yuntao quickly finished their introductions, and of course, they both mentioned their strengths and their desire to be class monitor. Soon it was Mu Xiaomo's turn. Without much thought, he confidently walked onto the stage. After all, her good looks speak for themselves. With a face value of 100, it's hard not to be confident. Only after Mu Xiaomo went on stage did Mu Baining dare to look him in the eye. From this angle, you can see his profile clearly. To be honest, Mu Xiaomo is actually quite handsome from this angle. His features were as handsome as if carved by a knife. His eyebrows had a slight ripple, and his mouth had a carefree smile. He also possesses a very unique aura. Mu Baining couldn't describe this aura in words. In short, it was incredibly attractive. No wonder I couldn't help but drink with him, and ended up taking him to a small hotel without even realizing it. If anyone's to blame, it's him. He's just too handsome, and his charisma is absolutely irresistible. The more Mu Baining looked at Mu Xiaomo, the more attractive she found him. If only I could be with him. Wrong. What am I thinking? Mu Baining realized that Mu Xiaomo was so handsome, yet he went to a bar to drink. He was obviously not a good person and must have ruined a lot of young girls. He's definitely a jerk. Just as Mu Xiaomo was about to introduce herself, the system's voice suddenly came through. "The values have changed. Mu Baining's affection for you has decreased." Chapter 4, Professor Mu apologizes to me. What's going on? Mu Xiaomo was completely bewildered when she heard the system's voice. I didn't do anything, so why is my favorability rating decreasing? Blanche. He turned his head and glanced at Mu Baining. When Mu Baining noticed his gaze, her eyes immediately darted away. She didn't dare to look him in the eye at all. Noticing this, Mu Xiaomo smiled slightly. It seemed that Mu Baining had been secretly observing him all along. "No, the main thing is, why are you still afraid to look at me? I feel guilty because someone threw 500 yuan in my face. If the system hadn't been activated, Mu Xiaomo would definitely have argued with her." Realizing he was overthinking things, he began to introduce himself. "Hello everyone, my name is Mu Xiaomo, and I come from Jiangbei. I am very happy to meet you all at Magic University, and I am also honored to meet Professor Mu." That simple sentence made all the students in the class raise their heads. Many people even frowned slightly, looking at Mu Xiaomo with ill intent. "Why?" The moment Mu Xiaomo spoke, Mu Baining's gaze fell upon his face. There seemed to be a hint of infatuation in his eyes. Mainly, he's a little bit handsome. The pressure on the students was immense as they competed with Mu Xiaomo. Upon hearing Mu Xiaomo's voice, the 4 girls in the class, who were few in number, all lit up. "Omega, wow, this guy named Mu Xiaomo is so handsome. Her voice is also very pleasant. I never expected there would be such a handsome guy in our class. I'll definitely ask for his WeChat after class." At the same time, many people spoke ill of him. He even says he's honored to meet Professor Mu. Why is he trying to make his presence known? I think he just wants to get Professor Mu's attention. On stage, Mu Xiaomo continued. I served as class monitor for all 3 years of high school, so I have a lot of experience. I usually like to play guitar and sing, and I am also proficient in software such as Office, PS, and I. These things, if shared, can indeed be quite helpful in getting elected class monitor. After all, it's the beginning of the semester, and there are many documents and forms to process. Mu Baining is a counselor and a professor of the major courses. She must be very busy and definitely needs a capable assistant. After speaking, Mu Omo turned her gaze directly to Mu Baining, looking at the girl who had been snuggling in his arms that morning. Just like before, Mu Baining unconsciously avoided Mu Omo's gaze. Mu Omo spoke up, Professor Mu. Startled by the shout, Mu Baining didn't react at all. I would like to try to be the temporary class monitor. I hope you can give me this opportunity. I have rich experience, and I will definitely be of great help in daily work and study. His tone was particularly serious and earnest, and Mu Baining felt a flutter in her heart when she saw Mu Omo's expression. She nodded slightly, a slight smile playing on her lips. I understand, Mu Omo, you can go back now. Seeing Mu Baining's expression, Mu Omo was delighted. Sigh, Professor Mu just laughed. Looks like I have a good chance of becoming class monitor. Mu Omo returned to his seat. After they sat down, Ba Yuntao whispered, Hey, Brother Mo, let me tell you a secret. When you went on stage just now, Professor Mu kept looking at you, Kanada, Kinja Enus, Omega Kanada, Kinja Enus. Maybe it's because I'm too handsome, Mu Omo said with a narcissistic air. Ba Yuntao continued, Indeed, but you are really handsome. I feel that out of the 4 of us in the dorm, you have the best chance of winning over Professor Mu. Why not give it a try? What if it works? Just imagine sleeping with Professor Mu in your arms. You've definitely never experienced that feeling before. Mu Omo blushed when Ba Yuntao praised him like that. Oh, Q, not bad, you're quite self-aware. But I have actually done sleeping while holding her. The cows are flying in the sky, Ba Yuntao said, looking incredulous. Next, it was time for each student to introduce themselves. Then the way they spoke was almost identical to Mu Omo's. They all claimed to be proficient in software such as Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Mu Baining's expression remained cold throughout, giving her the air of a strong, independent woman. Most students, however, prefer this kind of food. That concludes my self-introduction. Thank you, everyone. The last girl finished her self-introduction, bowed, and walked away. At the same time, Mu Baining also walked from the side to the middle. She maintained her usual cold gaze, and after a moment she spoke. Good students, I have a preliminary impression of you now. At the same time, I already had my mind on who would be elected as the temporary class leader. Upon hearing this, the students below became restless again. They all looked on with anticipation. Even Mu Omo's heart started racing. After all, it was guided by the system's strategy guide, and he had really tried his best to become the class monitor. Beside Mu Omo, Ba Yuntao gripped his wrist tightly, extremely nervous. Mu Baining glanced coldly at the students in the class before speaking softly. I've decided to give the position of intern class monitor to... Why? What was that student's name again? While the other students were introducing themselves, Mu Omo's image kept lingering in her mind. As a result, she didn't listen carefully to the other students' self-introductions, let alone remember their names. That was awkward. How about we give this position to Mu Omo? A thought suddenly popped into Mu Baining's mind. After all, I do owe him something, and in order not to affect our future teacher-student relationship, I still need to apologize. And he spoke so sincerely just now. Let's give him this chance this time. Mu Baining felt this idea was feasible, so she said, I've decided to let Mu Omo take on the role of temporary class monitor for now. Depend on... Upon hearing this, the other boys in the class looked unconvinced. Professor Mu actually chose Mu Omo. Why, he clearly spoke better than Mu Omo. So why didn't they choose him and instead chose this pretty boy? Is it really just because of her looks? Is appearance really that important? But since Mu Baining had already said it, they couldn't really refute it. We still need to establish a good image in Professor Mu's mind. Upon hearing this, Mu Omo was overjoyed. Good heavens, he hadn't expected Professor Mu to actually choose him. This girl is quite honest. Since she chose him as class monitor, then I'll forgive her for what happened this morning. At the same time, Ba Yuntao slammed his fist on the table. He turned his head and said, Brother Mo, I'm so envious of you, sob sob. All right, everyone, please be quiet. Seeing the restless class, Mu Baining called out and then turned her gaze to Mu Omo. Mu Omo, come to my office after the class meeting. I have something to tell you. Okay, Professor Mu, Mu Omo nodded. Since she hadn't finished explaining things for today, Mu Baining continued talking about safety, meal card top-ups, and the upcoming military training. The class meeting didn't end until 4:30 p.m. Mu Baining turned her gaze to Mu Omo. Mu Omo, come to my office. The other students can leave now. After saying that, she left in her high heels. Brothers, I'm going. Mu Omo chuckled and quickly followed Mu Baining's steps. Seeing this, the other students in the class were extremely envious. Just thinking about being alone with Professor Mu sounds amazing. And then unintentionally create some physical contact. Oh my Tilda. I'm so envious. The girl in the back row, who was about to go up and ask Mu Omo for his WeChat, was disappointed to see him run out so quickly. No, you can add them through the class group chat. Yes, that's it. The girl quickly opened WeChat. On the other side, Mu Omo followed quietly behind Mu Baining. Neither of them spoke. About 10 minutes later, Mu Baining led Mu Omo into her office. Mu Omo closed the door, while Mu Baining placed the documents on the table and sat down in a chair. After taking her seat, Mu Baining's expression became somewhat unnatural. Just as Mu Omo was about to speak, Mu Baining suddenly said, Mu Omo, I want to apologize for what happened last night and this morning. Chapter 5, Mu Omo is a narcissist. What happened? Professor Mu apologized to him. Mu Omo was slightly taken aback, never expecting Mu Baining to apologize first. Hearing Mu Baining's apology, Mu Omo's anger completely disappeared. No, he didn't take it seriously at all. Professor Mu, what are you saying? Mu Omo quickly asked. What happened this morning? What happened this morning? Do not you remember? Mu Baining raised her head, staring coldly into Mu Omo's eyes. What was this guy pretending for in front of her? Upon hearing this, Mu Omo chuckled and said, Of course I remember, but it's nothing. Don't worry, Professor Mu, I'm not the kind of person who holds grudges. I also bear some responsibility for this. I'm so handsome, it's understandable that you would be attracted to me. What? Are you attracted to him? Upon hearing Mu Omo's words, Mu Baining looked at him with disdain. This guy is so narcissistic. He's a total narcissist. However, there is no doubt that he is handsome. Mu Baining snorted, narcissist. Professor Mu, this is not narcissism, it is self-confidence. At this moment, Mu Omo said, by the way, Professor, I'm still single. Since you've fallen for me, if you want to apologize, why not be my girlfriend? Upon hearing this, Mu Baining blushed and then slammed her hand on the table with a bang. Mu Omo, what are you saying? Holy crap! Mu Omo's face darkened. I was just planning to be a little mischievous, but I didn't expect Mu Baining to react so strongly. No, I can't joke with Professor Mu. He quickly changed the subject. I was just kidding. By the way, Professor Mu, didn't you have something to tell me? I advise you not to have any ideas about me. She emphasized this point, her eyes turning icy cold, and first took 2 documents from her desk drawer. This is the information of the new students. I don't have an electronic version here. Please enter it into Excel for me later. Forehead. Mu Omo was a little stunned. If there was no electronic version, then where did she get the copy in her hand? He didn't ask any more questions, just turned around, took a picture with his phone, scanned it, and copied it in. It was incredibly simple. Mu Baining continued. Later, please collect information on the parents of the students in the class, and also collect information on the students' political affiliation. If any of them are members of the Communist Youth League, collect their files and send them to me. Yes, I understand, Professor Mu. Mu Omo nodded. These were all trivial matters to him, and he could easily complete them. And another thing, Mu Baining stared intently at him with her beautiful eyes. After class every day, come to my office and clean it. I have a slight case of OCD, so you must ensure that my office is clean and tidy. Upon hearing this, Mu Omo was taken aback. Making students do the cleaning is like you're missing an arm or a leg, isn't it? Of course, Mu Omo wouldn't say what was on his mind. He forced a smile that looked more like a grimace. Don't worry, Professor Mu, I just love cleaning. Mu Baining wanted to laugh, but she held it in. Mu Baining looked around. Wait a minute, let me think about what else is wrong. Besides, Mu Omo was speechless. He suspected that Mu Baining hadn't found a class monitor, but rather someone to use as a tool. A dozen seconds later, Mu Baining looked at his face again. After the military training ends, Shanghai University of Science and Technology will hold a welcome party for new students. When you introduced yourself, you mentioned that you really enjoy playing guitar and singing. Could you come on stage and perform a song? Hearing this, Musayomo was stunned. Playing guitar? He can't play a damn guitar. This is all nonsense, just to get elected class monitor. Seeing Musayomo hesitate, Mu Baning's eyes suddenly turned cold. What, Musayomo, when you introduced yourself just now? Did you lie? Just then, the system's voice came through. Ding, congratulations, host. You have activated the two-option choice. Option 1. Accept Professor Mu's offer and receive a divine singing voice as a reward. Option 2. Refuse Professor Mu and receive a cash reward of 100,000. Depend on. Upon seeing this option, Musayomo was startled. A god-like singing voice or 100,000 yuan in cash. Although I really want 100,000 yuan, I'll choose the god-level singing skill instead. After all, to win over Mu Baning, leaving a good impression will help increase her favorability. Musayomo nodded repeatedly. No problem, Professor Mu. I will perform a program at the welcome party, so don't worry. She nodded in satisfaction after hearing Musayomo's agreement. Yes, please take this seriously. Tell me the name of the program within 7 days so I can report it. After saying that, Mu Baning couldn't think of anything else to target Musayomo. He waved his hand and said, All right, you can go back now. I'll contact you if anything comes up later. Yes, thank you, Professor Mu. He took a deep breath and finally finished. He was asking for trouble. How could he have asked her to be his girlfriend? At this moment, Musayomo seriously doubted whether the Mu Baning who had been lying in her arms and acting coquettishly that morning was actually her. Why is there such a big difference between the two? Musayomo slunk away from the office. After leaving, a blush gradually appeared on Mu Baning's face. The words Musayomo had just said kept echoing in his mind. Be his girlfriend. When she was in college, she aspired to become a university professor. Throughout her 4 years of university, she studied relentlessly, taking all sorts of exams and experiencing even more pressure than in high school. For the past 4 years, she has been overwhelmed by various pressures. Coupled with her parents pressuring her to get married, she felt like she was on the verge of developing depression. Should I find a boyfriend to appease my parents? What kind of person is Musayomo? If I were to be Musayomo's girlfriend? Wrong. Mu Baning slapped her forehead. Mu Baning, what are you thinking? What kind of future can you have dating a student? Don't think about these things. Don't think about it. Meanwhile, in the corridor, Ding, congratulations on making your choice, host. You have obtained the god-level singing skill. Suddenly, an invisible force of knowledge invaded his mind. Musayomo felt a splitting headache. Her throat was extremely sore, and she even felt like she was suffocating. A full minute or so passed. The uncomfortable feeling gradually disappeared. Then, he felt a strange comfort and coolness in his throat. At that moment, he even felt like singing a song. It really feels great to have acquired god-level singing skills. Just as Musayomo was about to sing a song, the system's voice echoed in my mind again. The values have changed. Mu Baning's favorability towards you has increased. Chapter 6, Professor Mu likes you. Musayomo was somewhat stunned when she heard the value change again. My favorability dropped during the speech, but now it's rising again. It's inexplicable how it decreases and increases. There's no time to overthink it. At the very least, an increase in favorability isn't a bad thing. Back in the dormitory, as soon as Musayomo opened the door, his 3 older brothers crowded around him. Don't be surprised. It's impossible for a dormitory to be without a father-son relationship. Bai Yuntao raised an eyebrow and said with a mischievous smile, How did it go, Moji? Did anything cough happen when you went to Professor Mu's office? As he spoke, he raised an eyebrow at Musayomo. About the cough, Musayomo rolled her eyes. Of course she knew what this LSP meant. He shook his head. No, she just assigned me a bunch of tedious tasks, like organizing information on classmates, compiling statistics on political affiliations, and what's worse, she made me clean her office every day. Holy crap! Upon hearing his words, Huang Wengsu exclaimed, National treasure, followed by an envious look. Brother Ziomo, do you know what Professor Mu means by this? What do you mean? Musayomo asked, frowning. She likes you. What? She likes me. Upon hearing this, Musayomo already thought Huang Wengsu was an idiot. This person speaks without thinking. They can say anything. Yes, Huang Wengsu nodded and said seriously. Professor Mu made you clean every day so that he could get closer to you. Then I'll slowly take action against you. If I ask you for a favor, like serving you tea or water, and you do a good job, I'll definitely thank you and treat you to a nice meal or something. In a restaurant with a little candle lit and a sip of wine. Then, you're completely under their control. Mu Ziomo was speechless. He directly labeled Huang Wengsu a complete overthinker. Huang Wengsu then laughed and said, Taozi Du Yang, tell me, do you think what I said makes sense? Hissed Tilda after hearing Huang Wengsu's words. Bai Yuntao nodded thoughtfully. You know, I feel that makes a lot of sense. Du Yang, standing to the side, nodded in agreement. I feel the same way. After all, our little Mo is so handsome, it makes perfect sense that Professor Mu would take a liking to him. Maybe after a while, the professor will be lying in your arms and calling you husband. Mu Ziomo looked helpless. These three guys, they're something else. All right, I have things to do. Stop talking nonsense and go about your business. Upon hearing this, the three older boys made way for Mu Ziomo. Bai Yuntao sighed, I really envy our brother Mo. Yeah. Brother Mo is about to win the heart of his beauty. Mu Ziomo began to organize the things Mu Baining had asked her to do, and she was busy until 6 o'clock in the afternoon before she went to the cafeteria to eat with her three sons. The next day, 10:00 a.m., Mu Ziomo has already collected the files of all the Youth League members in the class. The majority of students in the class are boys, and they all live in the same dormitory, so it's very convenient to collect them. On the girls' side, a female classmate named Zia Yaoyu added him on WeChat yesterday. They chatted briefly, and she agreed to help him receive the money. And we arranged a time to deliver it to him. Extra. Just then, Fatty Huang Wengsu suddenly kicked open the dormitory door with a bang. Mu Ziomo was startled by this scene. Holy crap, fat guy, what are you doing? In such a hurry to be reincarnated. Bai Yuntao, who was watching porn in bed and rocking the bed, was also startled and looked up, cursing. I felt a surge of anger inside. Huang Wengsu took a deep breath and said excitedly, Don't sleep, brothers. I was just bored and went for a walk around the basketball court, and I saw a lot of pretty girls. This year's female students are all fair-skinned, beautiful, and have long legs. You guys all know how to play basketball, right? Let's go play basketball together and admire the female students. Since none of them have boyfriends, let's get a few of their WeChat contacts. If we keep dawdling, we'll only be able to play what others have already finished. Upon hearing this, Bai Yuntao immediately took off his headphones and got dressed and out of bed without hesitation. He'd rather find a girlfriend than date a girl with 5 fingers. Du Yang usually loves playing basketball, so he stood up and prepared to go to the basketball court to play for a while and relax. Seeing that the two people in the dormitory had reacted, Huang Wengsu turned his attention to Mu Ziomo. Hey Mo, stop staring at your computer. Let's go to the basketball court to relax, let's go. As soon as Huang Wengsu finished speaking, the system's voice came from Mu Ziomo's mind. Ding, congratulations, host, for activating the mission. This mission brings sanitary napkins to the gymnasium to help Mu Baining, who is on her period. Reward for completing the mission. Super guitar skills and your relationship with him will be improved. Another mission. Moreover, this time, they directly established a relationship. Because of what happened last night, there was indeed a rift between the two of them. Completing the task and improving their relationship was a good thing. This way, they could also leave a good impression on Professor Mu. Mu Ziomo turned her gaze to Huang Wengsu. Okay, you three go first. I'll go to the supermarket to buy some things later and then I'll come find you. Hurry up. Bai Yuntao had already dressed by this time. Huang Wengsu, carrying a basketball, and the three of them left the dormitory with grins on their faces. Mu Ziomo frowned slightly, then shrugged and smiled. How interesting, Mu Baining actually had her period today. Why would relatives visit, and we go to the basketball court? Never mind, let's finish the task first. He quickly stood up and left the dormitory. Go buy sanitary napkins first. Meanwhile, there are also faculty and staff dormitories. Hey, Ningning, there are lots of handsome guys playing basketball at the gym today. Let's go check it out. Mu Baining's best friend, Liu Weiwei, kept pestering Mu Baining. Liu Weiwei and Mu Baining were classmates in college. They are both 22 years old this year. After graduation, they both became counselors at the Magic University. Mu Baining clutched her stomach, her expression unnatural. She pouted her chubby lips. Weiwei, don't you love me anymore? Have you forgotten what day it is? My stomach hurts so much. Oh, it's okay. We come every month for a few days. You're not used to it yet. Seeing Mu Baining's unpleasant expression, Liu Weiwei continued. You won't feel pain when you see the handsome guy. We're both single, and if we drag this out any longer, no one will want us. If all else fails, I'll find you a cute guy. You can sleep with him for a night, and he'll give you 10 months of peace and quiet tilde. Hearing this, Mu Baining rolled her eyes at Liu Weiwei with disdain. Weiwei? You? Oh, I was just kidding. Hurry up, let's go to the basketball court together. I want to see some cute guys. Don't pull me, I'm not dressed. Let me put some clothes on. Chapter 7, Professor Mu blushed. The underground supermarket at Shanghai University of Science and Technology. Mu Omo stared blankly at the women's products on the shelf. ABC, Codex, SoFi always. Why is this thing so flashy? Why have so many brands? Looking at the numerous brands of sanitary napkins, Mu Omo suddenly hesitated to make a purchase. Girls seem to be brand conscious when using this stuff. I wonder what brand of sanitary napkins Professor Mu usually uses. Never mind, I'll just grab one. Mu Omo took a pack of Codex sanitary napkins and went to pay the bill. On the other side, at the basketball court of Shanghai University of Science and Technology, there are 50 or 60 small basketball courts here. There are a lot of students at Magic University, with more than 50,000. Therefore, the sports facilities are particularly abundant. The school also built a basketball court specifically for students to exercise. At this time, there were many people in the basketball court. Most of them are freshmen. The freshman registration period is 3 days. The students who registered yesterday have nothing to do today and are mostly getting familiar with the campus environment. Of course, many people also wander around the school, hoping to meet their dream girl. The basketball court is filled with young men and women. Girls like boys who love playing basketball, while boys also want to use basketball to showcase their charm. Maybe a girl will come up to you and ask for your WeChat. Holy crap, look, there's a girl over there in a JK uniform, she's so damn pretty. As soon as he entered the basketball court, Huang Wengsu began his sweep. My name is Bai Yuntao, Tao Taozi, not Taozi. Bai Yuntao was heartbroken. I don't know what was wrong with his parents when they named him that. Huang Wengsu chuckled. It's all the same, from now on I'll call you Set. Blanche. Once inside, Huang Wengsu and Bai Yuntao's eyes began to gleam. Let's sweep away all the pretty girls together. They even forgot they came to play basketball. Holy crap. At this moment, Bai Yuntao suddenly stopped and looked at the bench next to the basketball court not far away. Old Huang, isn't that Professor Mu? Upon hearing this, Huang Wengsu and Du Yang both looked in the direction Bai Yuntao was looking and saw the person on the chair, and found that it really was Professor Mu. Why is Professor Mu here too? And who's the person next to her? She's so pretty too. Both of them are very good-looking and must be best friends. Professor Mu was wearing a V-neck shirt, white pants, a bun hairstyle, and black-rimmed glasses today, still looking remarkably sophisticated. All right, you two LSBs, stop looking. Du Yang rolled his eyes at Huang Wengsu and Bai Yuntao. These two guys, one surnamed Huang and the other named Taozi, their personalities really match their names perfectly. Let's go play basketball. Or do you really want to pursue Professor Mu? Gotta go. Huang Wengsu and Bai Yuntao quickly looked away. To be honest, they really didn't dare to pursue Professor Mu. They had the desire but not the guts. He's my university advisor and professor, so pursuing her isn't realistic. You might as well focus your attention on other girls. Ning Ning, we've been sitting here for quite a while now. Why don't we go somewhere else to look? After sitting there for a while, Liu Weiwei got restless and wanted to go somewhere else to see if there were any more handsome guys. At this moment, Mu Baining's face was slightly flushed, because she just discovered she had leaked. Moreover, she was wearing white pants today, which were now stained red. At this moment, she could only squeeze her legs together, trying her best not to let others see her disheveled state. Just as Mu Baining was about to tell Liu Weiwei about this, Liu Weiwei suddenly noticed a very handsome young man in front of her. Oh my God! Liu Weiwei excitedly grabbed Mu Baining's arm. Ning Ning, look! That young man looks like my idol Joe Dada, and it looks like he's going to play basketball. Ning Ning, I want to watch him play basketball. Ah, Tilda's so handsome, Joe Dada, here I come. After saying that, Liu Weiwei took off running towards the classmate who looked like Joe Dada. Mu Baining was left standing there, stunned. This depend on. Sure enough, none of my best friends are reliable. This guy values women more than friends. Just when Mu Baining was at her wit's end, she suddenly realized that Mu Omo seemed to be walking this way. Why is he at the basketball court? And his goal seems very clear. It's yourself. This. Immediately, Mu Baining instinctively lowered her head, trying her best not to be noticed by Musayo Omo. Not far away, Musayo Omo wiped the sweat from her forehead. Damn, this basketball court is huge. There are so many private rooms. I searched for ages before I finally found Mu Baining. Judging from her expression, well, she must be on her period. Those legs were clamped too tightly. I don't know why she was wearing white pants today, since she's on her period. He's still looking down. Does he really think he didn't see her? Musayo Omo walked straight over. As she approached, Musayo Omo feigned surprise and said, "Oh, it's Professor Mu, what a coincidence. What are you doing at the basketball court?" "Depend on." Mu Baining's face darkened. This guy actually came. She placed her hands on her inner thighs, looked up, and gave an extremely awkward smile. I'm free today, so I came to relax." "Oh, I see, me too. Professor Mu, we really do have a connection." Yes. Mu Baining's lips twitched. Just when she thought Musayo Omo would leave, he actually sat down next to her. This made Mu Baining feel a little annoyed. If this guy finds out that I'm leaking, it'll be another big joke. She began, Musayo Omo, the classmates' youth league membership file that I asked you to collect. It's already been stored away. Before Mu Baining could finish speaking, Musayo Omo interrupted her. Mu Baining continued. "In that case, you can go to your dorm to get it. The school needs it later, so please put it on my desk." Okay." Musayo Omo secretly glanced at the area around her inner thigh. Although Mu Baining held it tightly, it was still very noticeable because she was wearing white pants. Indeed, a patch of deep red seeped out. Now it was his turn to step in, this warm-hearted guy. Musayo Omo said softly, "Professor Mu." She looked up and met Musayo Omo's eyes. "Professor Mu, stand up slowly." As she spoke, Musayo Omo had already taken off her coat. "Stand up." Mu Baining felt a bit blank. How could she stand up? If you stand up, the leak will be noticed. Seeing Mu Baining's hesitant manner, Musayo Omo felt that she was not like an aloof professor, but rather like an ordinary young girl. This behavior is a stark contrast to Mu Baining's outburst yesterday. With a sigh, Musayo Omo said in a very soft voice, "Professor Mu, I've already seen it. I just bought you some sanitary napkins. Stand up and I'll tie your coat around your waist. Go take care of yourself." Upon hearing this, Mu Baining immediately felt her face burning. A blush appeared on her face. So Musayo Omo bought her sanitary napkins. Could it be that he saw it before? So this is what it feels like to be cared for. At that moment, she didn't know why, but her body involuntarily stood up. Musayo Omo approached Mu Baining and tied her coat around her waist. Then he took out the sanitary napkins he had just bought from his pocket. He handed it to Mu Baining. "All right, Professor Mu, take this and go deal with it quickly." Thank you." Mu Baining's face grew increasingly red. She said softly, I'll wash the clothes and return them to you later." Chapter 8 Brothers, Professor Mu invited me. Watching Professor Mu slink away, Musayo Omo couldn't help but smile. Did I see that right? Professor Mu's face was so red just now, it was almost as red as a monkey's butt. So even the Ice Queen gets shy. Of course, this is a good thing for Musayo Omo. The scene just now had stirred up Mu Baining's emotions. In a relationship, stirring up emotions and creating ambiguity are essential to advancing the relationship. Of course, we can't upgrade our relationship now, but at least I've left a good impression on her. But the task the system said should be completed right. Just as he was thinking about this problem, the system's voice came from his mind again. "Ding, congratulations, host, for completing the mission. You have obtained the God-level guitar skill." As the sound faded, some knowledge about the guitar immediately entered his mind. All the chords and keys were crystal clear. It's just like learning guitar for 10 years. Having gained this knowledge, Musayo Omo felt a little itchy to touch the guitar. "Ding, congratulations, host, for activating a side quest." Upon hearing the voice, Musayo Omo was startled. A side quest. Side quest, a small goal of 10 million. For every 100 W earned, you can randomly obtain a skill or item. The task will be automatically terminated once you have earned 10 million. For every 1 million earned, do you receive an item or skill? Musayo Omo thought about it carefully. Whether it was props or skills didn't matter. What mattered was, he really should make some money. After all, the expenses in the future will be considerable. His father owns a large company, but for some reason, he raised his son frugally and his daughter lavishly from a young age, and his allowance never exceeded 3,000 yuan. Whenever he received pocket money, his sister always got more than him. So after paying tuition and other expenses, He only had 3,000 yuan for living expenses while attending university. 3,000 is enough for my own expenses, but once I start dating someone, going to a hotel or something, the money goes down very quickly. He currently has 100,000, which can be considered his own startup capital. As for what kind of business to start, I need to think about it carefully. The rest of the time, Muziya Omo went directly to his roommate and played ball with him for a while. The four of us went to the cafeteria for lunch together, and then my roommates went back to the dorm. He bought a guitar at the music store at Magic University. After all, having acquired God-level guitar skills, I still have to buy this thing. Also, Muziya Omo plans to sing and play the guitar at the welcome party after military training. As for the song to be played and sung, I haven't thought of one yet. On the other side, faculty and staff dormitory. By this time, Mu Baining had finished fixing the leak and changed into a dress. She turned her head and glanced at Muziya Omo's coat lying on the bed. I couldn't help but think of what happened this morning. A blush crept onto her face. It must be said, Muziya Omo had been quite gentlemanly that morning. She must have come to the basketball court, noticed her period was leaking, and then specifically went to the convenience store to buy sanitary napkins. He even so gentlemanly tied his coat around her waist. Imagining Muziya Omo's every smile and gesture, Mu Baining couldn't help but feel a little looking forward to seeing him again. Wrong. Mu Baining rubbed her head, wondering why her mind was filled with images of Muziya Omo lately. He was just trying to help me out of kindness. What was I thinking? We should quickly wash his clothes and take them to him. Mu Baining quickly picked up the clothes from the bed, secretly sniffed them, and found that they had a faint fragrance that smelled quite nice. Mu Baining glanced at the washing machine on the balcony and shook her head. She always felt that the washing machine didn't clean her clothes properly, and was afraid that they would pick up some strange smell. So she took out a basin, filled it with water, and then took out laundry detergent, intending to wash the clothes several times. About 5 or 6 minutes later, the door to the room was pushed open. Liu Weiwei walked in carrying the fruit she had just bought at the supermarket. Seeing Mu Baining washing clothes, she frowned and asked, "Hey, Ningning, why are you washing clothes by hand?" In her memory, Mu Baining rarely washed clothes by hand. Seeing the clothes in the basin, they're men's clothes. Could it be that Ningning is in a relationship? She was just wondering why Mu Baining was missing. She went to watch a classmate who looked a lot like Joe Dada play basketball, and when she came back, she found that Mu Baining was gone. Now we finally know what she's been up to. So it turns out she was secretly dating someone behind my back. She first placed the fruit on the table, then went directly over and hugged Mu Baining from behind. "Wow, Ningning, you're secretly dating behind my back. You're really something, tell me now. Is he a student at our school?" Mu Baining was somewhat bewildered upon hearing this. "Weiwei, what nonsense are you talking about? How could I possibly be in a relationship? Have you forgotten our agreement? Whoever finds a partner first has to treat everyone to a big meal. Do you think I'd lose?" Liu Weiwei looked incredulous upon hearing Mu Baining's words. She pointed to the clothes in the basin. "You said you weren't dating. You've already washed your boyfriend's clothes. Who would believe that?" This is. Mu Baining was about to explain when she realized. She couldn't refute Liu Weiwei. Liu Weiwei snorted. "HMPH, this is your boyfriend's coat, isn't it?" "No." Mu Baining shook her head heavily. This Liu Weiwei was gossiping about all sorts of trivial things again. Seeing that Mu Baining couldn't answer her question, she chuckled and said, "Ningning, dating isn't a bad thing. Don't worry, I won't make you treat me to dinner. Tell me, is he handsome?" Mu Baining looked helpless. "I'm really not in a relationship. This is a student in my class. I accidentally got it dirty, so I'm washing it for him." Tusk. Who knows, they might develop into a couple someday. Mu Baining rolled her eyes at Liu Weiwei, too lazy to even acknowledge her. A dozen minutes later, she put Muziya Omo's coat into the dryer. He then opened WeChat and sent a message to Muziya Omo. "Come to the lakeside at school at 3 p.m. today to pick up your clothes. I've already washed them. Thank you, and I'll treat you to coffee." On the other side, Muziya Omo's phone rang. Seeing that it was Mu Baining who sent him the message, Muziya Omo chuckled. "Brothers, Professor Mu asked me out. P.S. For new readers who clicked into this book, Xiaming is currently revising the text. The following text may contain terms such as strategy progress and affinity level, which means that the changes haven't been made yet, and these settings need to be removed. Please be aware, thank you. Chapter 9, you stinky Ningning, still saying you're not in a relationship. I caught you red-handed. What, Professor Mew invited you out? Upon hearing Mu Ziomo's voice, Bai Yuntao, who was lying on the bed, immediately sat up. Even Huang Wengsu, who was wearing headphones and had a lewd smile on his face, was like that. Something very interesting happened today. Mu Ziomo was about to tell her what happened today, but then she remembered that it was an embarrassing moment for Mu Baining, and she thought that if she told her, she would embarrass her. No, I absolutely cannot say that. Mu Ziomo shook her head. This is a secret that only Professor Mew and I know about you. The secret must be kept in your heart forever. Bai Yuntao rolled his eyes. Damn it, Mu Ziomo is really keeping people in suspense. That's a real dog, Mu Ziomo said. Anyway, she asked me out, so I'm going, brothers. Seeing Mu Ziomo's mischievous look, Bai Yuntao said, Damn, could Brother Mo really be interested in Professor Mew? Huang Wengsu rolled his eyes. Are you stupid? Any normal man would be interested in Professor Mew. If you're not interested, then you're definitely not normal. Bullshit, I'm interested too, but I can't take it from Brother Mo. Bai Yuntao chuckled. Actually, he also hoped that Mu Ziomo could win over the counselor. After all, this is not a common occurrence in universities. If he actually manages to get her, he can brag about it to everyone. Little Mo, you'd better work hard, seize the opportunity, and try to win over Professor Mew as soon as possible. I'll try my best. Mu Ziomo nodded, got out of bed, opened the wardrobe, and changed into a t-shirt. She also took out a bottle of fabric perfume and sprayed it on her clothes. This perfume was given to him by his father, who said it was a woman-slaying fragrance, and that once a girl smelled it, she would never forget him. Actually, this perfume doesn't have a heavy scent. It has a musk base, and the fragrance presents a fresh, elegant, and understated feeling. After tidying her clothes, Mu Ziomo checked the time. It was almost 2:30. If the three of them meet at the lake, this time will be just right. He picked up the file bag on the table. It contained the class's youth league members' files. He'd forgotten to deliver them to her that morning. However, Mu Baining probably wouldn't care about such a small matter. Mu Ziomo took the documents and glanced at her three sons. Brothers, I'm going to see Professor Mew now. I'll let you know as soon as there's any new development. Awesome, keep it up, Ziomo. I'll try my best to win over Professor Mew as soon as possible. Mu Ziomo smiled slightly and left the dormitory. Behind the teaching building of Shanghai University of Science and Technology, there are lush green trees. The area is covered with lush trees, and you can occasionally see a few squirrels passing by. Not far away, there is a lake. There weren't many people around. At this moment, Mu Baining was sitting on a bench by the lake, waiting for Mu Ziomo to arrive. There was a bag and 2 cups of coffee next to her. Yes, the coffee was for Mu Ziomo. The stream not far away crashes against the rocks of the artificial hill, making a tinkling sound, like a girl in white plucking a pipa. Mu Baining glanced at the time on her phone, then looked up and took a deep breath. She had to admit, the scenery at Magic University was really quite beautiful. But why hasn't Mu Ziomo arrived yet? Even though you mentioned 3 points, couldn't you have come a little earlier? 5 minutes later, Mu Ziomo appeared near the lake, carrying a file folder and humming a little tune. There are many willow trees by the lake. The sun is shining brightly today, and it's not too hot. A gentle breeze was blowing, making it very pleasant. But what about Professor Mew? Mu Ziomo looked around and walked about 100 meters before finally spotting Mu Baining. She sat on a bench by the lake, wearing a white floral dress and a sun hat. At first glance, she looked quite innocent. Wow, this girl actually has such an innocent side. Mu Ziomo couldn't help but stare at her figure. He liked mature women, but he liked pure and innocent girls even more. Maybe she has all sorts of uniforms in her closet. Heh. At this moment, classmates passing by behind her couldn't help but take a second look at Mu Baining. There's no way around it, she's just too charming. Mu Ziomo walked over quietly. When she was about 5 or 6 meters away from Mu Baining, she also heard Mu Ziomo's footsteps. The girl looked up and met Mu Ziomo's gaze. However, this time she did not avoid his gaze. Professor Mew. Mu Ziomo walked over with a slight smile. Mu Baining quickly made way for her, and Mu Ziomo sat down next to her without any hesitation. She tilted her head slightly and glanced at Mu Baining's collarbone. It's a little over 1 billion. She wore a white floral dress with a cinched waist, creating a striking contrast between her chest and waist. After Mu Ziomo sat down next to her, Mu Baining quickly took the bag containing his coat. Extending her arm, she said shyly, "Thank you for helping me this morning, Mu Ziomo. I've already washed your clothes, so you don't need to wash them again. Just wear them without worry." While talking to him, Mu Baining smelled a faint fragrance on Mu Xiaomo. This Mu Xiaomo saw that she was even wearing perfume. However, perfume represents a person's taste, and at least his taste is quite good. The scent is pleasant, subtle, as if adding a layer of mystery to him. Upon hearing this, Mu Xiaomo naturally accepted the bag. Then he said rather politely, "Thank you, Professor Mu. Actually, it's okay if you don't wash it. I can wash it myself later." No, it's what I should do. Mu Baining didn't expect Mu Xiaomo to be so polite to him. She quickly picked up the coffee on the right and handed it to Mu Xiaomo. "This is the coffee I promised to treat you to. I don't know what flavor you like, but we have latte and Americano." "Thank you, Professor Mu. A latte will do." Mu Xiaomo didn't stand on ceremony with her, and unconsciously touched her hand when she took the coffee. Of course it was intentional. Mu Baining unconsciously pulled back slightly. This Mu Xiaomo actually touched her on purpose. This was too bold. Of course, she couldn't get angry. At this moment, Mu Xiaomo stretched out her arm. "Professor Mu, these are the reunion files of the students you requested. I have already collected the boys' files, and Zia Yaoyu will bring the girls' files to you." He took the students' files. Upon hearing this, Mu Baining nodded repeatedly. Okay. Mu Baining glanced at Mu Xiaomo. Actually, when she said she wanted this in the morning, it was just an excuse to get him away. But since I've already taken it, I might as well accept it. I'll take it sooner or later anyway. Meanwhile, it's not far away. Liu Weiwei, who was out for a stroll, happened to pass by here. She was extremely surprised when she saw Mu Baining. He quickly hid behind a clump of grass. "You stinky Ningning, you said you weren't dating, but you've been on dates with me. You're still lying to me. I caught you red-handed this time." As she spoke, she took out her phone and started snapping photos randomly. Chapter 10, Is Professor Mu being pressured to get married? "Xiaomo, how are the preparations for the welcome party going?" Sitting on the bench, Mu Baining asked somewhat awkwardly. Having experienced the two incidents the night before last and this morning, Mu Baining was somewhat embarrassed at this moment. Mu Xiaomo was her student, and she had even helped her today. These two incidents made her feel somewhat ashamed. "I even want to leave here as soon as possible. But he did help me out after all, so I can't just deliver the clothes and leave now. I should at least chat with him for a bit." Upon hearing this, Mu Xiaomo was taken aback. He realized that the nickname Xiaomo was quite nice and sounded very friendly. He looked at Mu Baining with a reassuring gaze. "I've been preparing recently, and I'm still thinking about what song to sing. I'll try to give you an answer as soon as possible." Mu Xiaomo was confident he could sing well. After all, he had acquired God-level singing skills and God-level guitar skills. As long as you find the right piece of music, there shouldn't be any problems. Mu Baining nodded. "Okay, then try to make a decision as soon as possible so I can report it to the school." "Don't worry, Professor Mu." Ding, congratulations, host, for activating the mission. As soon as Mu Xiaomo finished speaking, a voice suddenly echoed in his mind. "Your task for this event is to sing a love song at the welcome party. Try your best to become the focus of attention. This will put pressure on Mu Baining and improve your relationship." Task reward, God-level culinary skill. What the heck? Sing a love song? Mu Xiaomo was a little confused. He was so handsome that becoming the focus of attention at the welcome party was not a big problem. If you can't imagine what he looks like, press the power button on your phone and you'll see tilde. After all, this is a society that values appearance. Love songs, what kind of love songs should I sing? Just as Mu Xiaomo was wondering, the atmosphere suddenly became a little awkward. Just as Mu Baining was about to find an excuse to leave, and was about to speak, a small insect suddenly flew into her eye. "Oops." She hummed in agreement, gently rubbed her eyes, and tears immediately streamed down her face. Hearing the sound, Mu Xiaomo turned her head and looked at her curiously. "What's wrong, Professor Mu?" Seeing that she was rubbing her eyes, Mu Xiaomo knew that a small flying insect had gotten into her eyes. There are many small flying insects this season, and many of them like to fly on the water's surface. Getting something in your eyes is perfectly normal. However, hands carry a lot of bacteria, and rubbing Mu Baining's eyes like this could very likely cause an eye infection. I'm fine," Mu Baining said softly. "A small flying insect flew into my eye and it hurts a little." "Then let me help you." Mu Xiaomo quickly leaned closer. "Professor Mu, you can't rub your eyes like that, it will cause an infection." "Don't move, I'll help you get the little bug out." Upon hearing this, Mu Baining immediately stopped what she was doing. "However, my left eye still hurts a lot. As soon as I open it, tears start flowing." After putting her hand down, Muziah almost slowly moved closer. Even Mu Baining could feel his breath. As soon as they got so close, Mu Baining became nervous. Oh my God, what is Muziah Omo trying to do? Why is she getting so close to her? Won't this make people misunderstand? Mu Baining finally couldn't help but speak up. Muziah Omo, why are you so close to me? I'm a little nearsighted, otherwise I couldn't see clearly. Mu Baining was impressed by Muziah Omo's words. What he said was absolutely correct. She had seen Muziah Omo's grades before. He scored over 670 points on the college entrance exam. She's definitely a top student, even scoring higher than I did back then. This score is probably among the top in the entire Magic University. Moreover, most of today's top students are nearsighted. Of course, saying she was nearsighted was just an excuse for Muziah Omo. At this moment, Mu Baining's left eye was completely wet. Many tears flowed out, they were slippery. He pressed down on Mu Baining's lower left eyelid with his index finger and gently pulled it down. At this moment, the whites of Mu Baining's eyes were already red, which was undoubtedly related to the fact that she had just rubbed her eyes. Then beneath the whites of his eyes, he saw a black dot. It must be a small flying insect. Professor Mu, I've already seen the little flying insect. I'll take it out for you right away. She nodded softly. Far away. Arias Omega. Liu Weiwei blushed when she saw how close Muziah Omo had got to Mu Baining. You stinky Ningning, you said you weren't in a relationship and you're already kissing. Humph, you're so annoying. Because of the unusual angle, Muziah Omo's observation of the small flying insects for Mu Baining was misunderstood by Liu Weiwei. She thought Muziah Omo had kissed Mu Baining directly. Liu Weiwei, who loves gossip, felt particularly satisfied at this moment. This is going to be quite a spectacle. With these photos, let's see how that stinky lemon can still fool herself. But those two are really sweet. I'm totally shipping them. Oh //////Q. Muziah Omo took out a pack of King Feng brand tissues from her pocket and crumpled them into long strips. Then she gently pulled open Mu Baining's lower eyelids and carefully brought out the small flying insect. That's all, Professor Mu. Muziah Omo smiled slightly and released her eyelids. Just as Mu Baining was about to rub her eyes, Muziah Omo grabbed her wrist. He added with concern, Professor Mu, you mustn't rub your eyes anymore. It's easy for them to get infected. You should go home and use some eye drops. Get a good rest and sleep tonight and you'll be fine. Hearing this, Mu Baining became a little shy again. Muziah Omo smiled faintly. How are you? Does your eye feel better now? She nodded slightly. Thank you, Muziah Omo, you're such a good person. So you've already been friend-zoned. Just as Muziah Omo was feeling quite puzzled, Mu Baining's phone suddenly rang. She took out her phone and answered the call. Then a kind female voice came from the phone. It should be Mu Baining's mother. Ning, Uncle Wang recently told me about a really nice young man who works for a state-owned enterprise and earns 5,800 yuan a month. He seems like a good guy. When do you have time to meet him? Forehead. Muziah Omo was taken aback. Is Professor Mu being pressured to get married? Chapter 11. Hello, Auntie. I'm Ningning's boyfriend. Mu Baining, who was standing nearby, seemed particularly impatient when she heard her mother urging her to go on blind dates again. Your daughter isn't unwanted, and she's only 22 this year. Why do you keep pressuring her to get married? Do you really want a grandson that badly? Mu Baining particularly dislikes the pressure from her parents to get married. At this moment, she really wanted to refuse outright, but she knew that if she did, she would definitely get a lecture from her mother. She said helplessly, Mom, the Magic University just started its semester recently, and I have work to do. I don't have time to go back for blind dates at all. The voice of Mu Baining's mother continued to come through the phone. It's okay. That young man works in Shanghai, not far from your school. I'll give him your WeChat ID so he can add you and you two can chat. If things go well, we can meet up, have a meal, and chat. This young man is really nice. He has a respectable and stable job. Mom, Mu Baining kept lecturing her mother, trying to reason with her. Just then, the system's voice appeared again. Ding, congratulations to the host for activating the two-option option. Option 1, snatch Mu Baining's phone and say to her mother, Hello, Auntie. I'm Mu Baining's boyfriend. This may lower your popularity with him. Please choose carefully. Option 2, tell Mu Baining's mother, Auntie, please don't rush her. She says she's a lesbian. This is life-threatening and not recommended. You must choose one after activating the two options. Upon hearing the system's voice, Muziah Omo stared wide-eyed at it. Isn't this blatantly setting him up? The system said the second option was life-threatening, and Mu Ziomo felt. The first option was also dangerous. But do we still have to choose? Of course, it's choice one. If you choose option two, accusing her of being a lesbian, Mu Baining might just pull out a fruit knife. And then, the end. Helpless, Mu Ziomo had no choice but to shamelessly sneak closer to Mu Baining. Then, taking advantage of her inattention, he snatched the phone from her hand, took a deep breath, gritted his teeth, and said, "Auntie, actually, Ning Ning has never told you that she has found a boyfriend. I am his boyfriend." After these words were spoken, both Mu Baining and her mother fell silent. "Mu Ziomo, you!" Mu Baining glared at her fiercely. "SHH." Mu Ziomo made a shushing gesture and winked at her, as if to say, "I'm helping you." Seeing Mu Ziomo's actions, Mu Baining was furious. "System, ding, Mu Baining's favorability towards you has decreased. Damn, it's already lost weight." Before he could think any further, Mu Baining's mother's voice came from the other end of the phone. "Really? Young man, how old are you? Do you own a house? What do you do for a living?" Mu Baining's mother immediately bombarded him with 3 deadly questions. Forehead. Upon hearing this, Mu Ziomo was immediately speechless. "Oh my God, how am I supposed to answer that? Are you suggesting I say I'm a student?" Looking at the stunned Mu Ziomo, Mu Baining looked disgusted, wondering what he was up to. He quickly snatched the phone from Mu Ziomo's hand and said, "Mom, he's my colleague. Okay, I'll talk to you later. I have to go now." After saying that, Mu Baining hung up the phone. Then she raised her head and looked at Mu Ziomo with a fierce expression. Mu Ziomo was slightly taken aback. "Damn system, you've really messed me up." When Mu Baining looked up, she wanted to give him a stern scolding, but when she saw his delicate features and thought that this little brother might really want to help her, she suddenly couldn't say what she wanted to say. "Never mind." Mu Baining sighed. "I know you want to help me, but you can't just say things like that, you know, Ziomo." Mu Ziomo nodded slightly. At this moment, Mu Baining was like a younger brother who had made a mistake. She smiled slightly. "All right, Ziomo, hurry back. I still have a lot of work to do. By the way, the school will be distributing military training uniforms at 3 p.m. tomorrow. When you get back, don't forget to collect the students' clothing sizes. You don't need to report it to me. When you pick up the uniforms tomorrow, just go and get them according to the students' sizes." "Okay, Professor Mu." Mu Ziomo nodded slightly. "I'm going back now, bye-bye." With that, Mu Baining carried the file folder in her left hand and a coffee in her right, and slowly walked towards the teaching building. "Goodbye, Professor Mu. Don't forget to use your eye drops when you get back." Mu Ziomo watched her retreating figure and gave her a reminder. Upon hearing Mu Ziomo's words, Mu Baining suddenly stopped in her tracks, and a blush appeared on her face again. This silly little brother is actually quite sweet. She didn't turn her head. "I understand, Ziomo, you should go back now." After saying that, Mu Baining left. Mu Ziomo was taken aback. Had Professor Mu just blushed? A girl is getting shy. Looks like she's determined to win over Professor Mu. Without giving it much thought, he quickly slunk away. After Mu Baining walked away, Liu Weiwei, who was hiding behind the bushes, slowly peeked out. She stood up only after confirming that she hadn't been discovered. He didn't forget to glance at Mu Ziomo's background. Looking at the photos on her phone, Liu Weiwei said sullenly, "HMPH, you stinky Ning-Ning, no wonder you didn't tell me you were in a relationship. Turns out you met such a handsome boyfriend. I'm not going to fight you for it, HMPH." The scene just now really stung Liu Weiwei. She tilted her head and sighed, "Sigh. I wonder when my Prince Charming will arrive. How's it going, Brother Mo? How's it progressing?" After Mu Ziomo returned to the dormitory, Bai Yuntao and Huang Wengsu surrounded him again. He seemed to care a lot about his progress with Professor Mu. Upon hearing this, Mu Ziomo said smugly, "Just look at my perfect looks. I can definitely handle this in no time." "Holy crap." Huang Wengsu quoted a traditional Chinese phrase, then asked, "Are you officially dating?" "Not yet, but it'll be soon." "Awesome." Huang Wengsu gave him a thumbs up, then looked Mu Ziomo over. "But Brother Mo is indeed handsome. If I had Professor Mu, I would have gone straight for you." "Unfortunately, you are not." At this moment, Bai Yuntao nodded and said, "Yeah, Brother Ziomo, you're so handsome. The more I look at you, the more attractive you become. I'm even a little tempted." Upon hearing this, Mu Ziomo turned to look at him. "Are you truly moved?" "Okay, then wait for me in bed tonight." Upon hearing this, Bai Yuntao shrank back. Holy crap, I never expected Mu Ziomo to be so sassy. "Want a fencing with him?" Of course, this was just a joke Mu Ziomo made. If he were gay, his father would definitely kill him. Just kidding, stop lying. Professor Mew asked me to collect the sizes of the military training uniforms. What size do you three wear? I'm 180 cm. I am 175 cm tall. I'm 175 cm tall. Chapter 12, a love song that can bring tears to the audience's eyes. At 8:30 p.m., the campus of Magic University was still bustling with activity. There were many freshmen running laps on the playground, and some students who liked to sing even set up a speaker and sang Wong Ka Kui's Boundless Oceans, Vast Skies. Liu Weiwei carried the boxed lunch and durian she had bought. After listening to music for a while, she walked towards the faculty and staff dormitory. She couldn't wait to ask who Mu Baining had kissed today. Q. Inside the faculty dormitory, Mu Baining was working, her beautiful eyes fixed on the computer screen, writing lesson plans for classes to begin after the military training. The rosy peaks below her collarbone were placed on the table, attracting particular attention. At this moment, as Mu Baining was writing her lesson plan, the image of Mu Xiaomo unconsciously came to mind, especially the moment he helped him get rid of the small flying insects. She could even clearly remember the scent of his perfume. Before she knew it, she had started writing Mu Xiaomo's name on her lesson plan, almost filling up the blank space. Because she had studied art and usually liked to draw and write, she couldn't help but draw Mu Xiaomo's profile on the paper after she got distracted. His features were as clear as if they were etched into her mind. After finishing the drawing, Mu Baining nodded with satisfaction. Before I could even admire it, the door was suddenly opened. Snap! Liu Weiwei shouted frantically. You stinky Ningning, come out here right now. Upon hearing the sound, Mu Baining hurriedly closed his lesson plan book. This scene was captured by Liu Weiwei. Huh, you stinky lemon, what are you hiding? Liu Weiwei quickly placed the boxed lunch and durian she had bought on the table and walked towards her aggressively. It's nothing, it's nothing. Mu Baining slumped onto the table, with Su Feng pressing down on her. Seeing Mu Baining's strong reaction, Liu Weiwei knew she was up to no good. You naughty Ningning, you're definitely up to no good by hiding things. Are you writing love letters to your crush? Upon hearing this, Mu Baining shook her head emphatically. Weiwei, what nonsense are you talking about? I don't have any male god. Stop pretending, you stinky lemon. I saw it all today. Liu Weiwei chuckled, but didn't expose her immediately. Mu Baining's chair had wheels, so Liu Weiwei grabbed the back of the chair and pulled it backward, causing the chair to slide backward. Mu Baining lost her balance and fell down with a thud. At the same time, Liu Weiwei grabbed Mu Baining's lesson plan book. You stinky Ningning, there must be some secret in the lesson plan. Let me see it. Can't. The fall wasn't too bad. She staggered to her feet and quickly went after Liu Weiwei. Liu Weiwei was also running all over the dormitory. The two have been best friends for many years and often bicker. She knows Mu Baining won't get angry. While running, Liu Weiwei had already opened Mu Baining's lesson plan. Her gaze fell upon Mu Xiaomo's name and profile. When she saw the profile drawn by Mu Baining, she was certain that this was the boy she had dated with by the lake today. She said excitedly, Hey Ningning, I saw it. Your boyfriend's name is Mu Xiaomo, right? Ha 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 ha. You said you weren't dating anyone, Ningning, you can't hide it from me. The two of them were chasing each other like this, looking extremely comical. You, oh dear Weiwei, it's not what you think. I. Mu Baining was extremely anxious. At this moment, Liu Weiwei suddenly stopped. Then, looking at Mu Baining with a serious expression, he said, Ningning, stop pretending. I saw you and your Mu husband kissing by the lake today. He's so handsome, and you two are so sweet, Q. Upon hearing this, Mu Baining was taken aback. Mu's husband. Did you kiss? What the hell is this? Looking at the somewhat bewildered Mu Baining, Liu Weiwei pouted. Ningning, is it really that hard for you to admit you have a boyfriend? She immediately opened her phone and showed the photos she had secretly taken from behind the bushes earlier that day. Here, let's see what you have to say now. Mu Baining's gaze followed the phone screen, and then she was completely dumbfounded. Holy crap! This dog Vivi is actually stalking me. And you even secretly took so many photos. Seeing Mu Baining's surprised look, Liu Weiwei revealed a victorious smile. Ningning, you've really piqued my curiosity. Tell me, did you pursue him? Or did he like you the most? You're so beautiful, I have a feeling he's the one who pursued you. Is he a student in your class? Wow tilde, I never knew you were having a teacher-student relationship, Ningning. Phi Omega, I'm so envious of you. Mu Baining looked at Liu Weiwei with disdain. I have a feeling that No matter how I explain it, she can't explain it clearly. That bastard Liu Weiwei has such an outrageous imagination. At this point, Mu Baining had given up struggling. I don't know anything, don't ask me, think what you want, I'm going to eat. Anyway, he had nothing to do with Mu Omo, and no matter what she said, he was innocent. Let time prove everything. Seeing that Mu Baining ignored her, Liu Weiwei quickly went up to her again. Oh, dear Ning Ning, please tell me, please. It's 10 p.m. Mu Omo, in her dorm room, pressed Ctrl+S to save the spreadsheet and took a deep breath. Phew, I've finally finished compiling the size charts for the students' military training. He stretched, stood up, and turned to look at Bai Yuntao. This guy was covered with a summer blanket, only his head was sticking out. He was wearing headphones, and he was staring at his phone screen with a lecherous look in his eyes. You didn't need to think to know what he was doing. Taozi, you must be moderate and stop dating the Five Fingers girl all the time. Okay. Bai Yuntao turned his body away, completely ignoring Mu Omo, and continued his date. After turning off the laptop, Mu Omo lay on the bed and remembered the tasks the system had given him that day, singing a love song and becoming the focus of the entire audience. What song should I sing? Ding, congratulations to the host for activating the mission. At 8:00 a.m. tomorrow, please go to the south gate of the Magic Science University to rescue Mu Baining. Completion reward, a love song that can bring tears to the audience's eyes. Chapter 13, he kissed Professor Mu. Mu Omo was taken aback. Hey, why does Mu Baining always seem to get into trouble? Will my period leak again tomorrow? He murmured, 8 o'clock in the morning, south gate of the Magic University to save Mu Baining. It shouldn't be a side leak. After all, I didn't ask him to prepare sanitary napkins. Who cares, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Mu Omo didn't think much of it. Since she already knew that Mu Baining would have an accident tomorrow, she could just go there directly then. He took off his clothes and quickly ran into the bathroom to take a shower and go to sleep. The next day at 7:30 in the morning, in the faculty dormitory, Mu Baining, wearing yesterday's floral dress, opened the door and walked out with a stern face. She muttered under her breath, "You dog Weiwei, all you do is gossip, you're so annoying." Last night, Liu Weiwei kept gossiping about him and Mu Omo, and she didn't even let him get a good night's sleep. It buzzes around like a fly. Now I'm making her go out to buy steamed buns and soy milk, and she insists on eating at the stall across the street from the school gate. It's so annoying. Left with no other choice, she headed towards the south gate of the school. The mornings at Magic University were particularly cool, and the gentle breeze lifted Mu Baining's spirits considerably. The faculty and staff dormitory is not far from the south gate, and Mu Baining treated it as a morning walk. Today is the last day for new students to enroll. Yesterday and the day before, almost all the new students arrived. No one showed up on the last day. Therefore, today's work was relatively easy. Mu Baining hummed a song as she arrived at the main gate of the Magic Science University. At this time, the traffic flow at the gate was particularly heavy. The University of Science and Technology of China, USDC, is located in the university town of Shanghai, where there are many universities, one after another. The start dates for university campuses are staggered, which is a concern because of traffic congestion, especially in large cities like this. The university next door started its semester today, and there's a lot more traffic here than before. Mu Baining stood carefully at the edge of the sidewalk. Only after the traffic light turned green did she quicken her pace and cross the road to the university town commercial street on the other side. With the start of the new academic year at the university, the various food stalls on the commercial street have also entered their peak season. Mu Baining arrived at the steamed bun shop that Liu Weiwei often brought her to. There weren't many people there, and she only had to wait in line for a few minutes before it was her turn. Master, 2 baskets of steamed buns, 1 basket of 3 kinds of seafood and 1 basket of pork and scallion, and 2 cups of plain soy milk. Okay, Tilda. The shopkeeper readily agreed, and at the same time, Mu Baining took out her phone and opened Douyin, TikTok. South Gate of Magic University. Mu Omo, who had been staking out the spot for 10 minutes, yawned. Ah, whoosh, Tilda. He looked sleepy and glanced at the time on his phone. 7:55. That means Mu Baining will pass by here in 5 minutes. Then some strange things happened. Mu Omo was ready. As soon as she saw Mu Baining, she would rush over. Who cares about the consequences? Meow, Tilda. Just then, a little yellow kitten suddenly appeared out of nowhere, sat at Mu Omo's feet, and licked its paws. This is a Chinese domestic cat. It is very clean and should not be a stray cat. Upon seeing the kitten, Omo remained calm. He has loved cats and dogs since he was a child. His family used to have a cat, but it passed away a year ago. Thinking of this, Omo couldn't help but glance at him a few more times. After licking its paws, the kitten ran across the street, and Omo's gaze never left it. Suddenly, the kitten stopped in the middle of the road. "I'll go." Omo was slightly taken aback. There was a lot of traffic on the road. Would the kitten get hurt? Beep, beep, beep. The sound of the flute rose and fell incessantly, but it did not disturb the kitten. Cars drove by one after another until the green light came on, and he breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the kitten still licking its paws. Wow, what a beautiful little kitten. When Mew Baining returned from shopping and was about to cross the street, she suddenly spotted such an adorable little kitten. Like Omo, she also particularly loves small animals, especially kittens. The light was green, so Mew Baining hurriedly crossed. Then he squatted down and picked up the kitten. So cute. Just then, not far away, a van driver was smoking a cigarette and making a phone call. "Don't worry, Brother Wang, I'll definitely get all the girls sorted out for you tonight." Holy crap. The driver completely ignored the traffic lights. In a panic, he tried to step on the brake, but, damn it, he stepped on the accelerator instead. Across the street, Omo had already spotted Mew Baining. He also noticed the van speeding toward him. This car showed absolutely no signs of braking. In fact, it was going faster and faster. Holy crap! Omo was startled. So this was the kind of rescue she had for Mew Baining. "Professor Mew, watch out." Omo gritted her teeth. Damn it, although she was panicking, she was going to risk it all. He suddenly lunged at Mew Baining. At the same time, Mew Baining heard someone call her name. She had just raised her head when she felt a tremendous force push her away. Boom! Creak! A strong gust of wind rushed past her ears, accompanied by the sound of brakes. Then his head hit the ground hard. Because of the bun hairstyle he wore today, the bun on his head helped to dissipate a large part of his strength. Before Mew Baining knew what was happening, a huge body suddenly pressed down on her. Even more outrageous, Omo's lips landed right on Mew Baining's lips. Omo felt her chest being supported by something very soft. This. Holy crap! Because there were quite a few people around, he quickly stood up the moment he regained consciousness. At the same time, Mew Baining opened her eyes in shock. What's going on? What just happened? When she looked up and saw that it was Omo, she was even more confused. Why is it this guy again? And my back and ankles hurt so much. Are you all right, Professor Mew? Omo took a deep breath, turned her head, and saw that the small van from before was now parked crookedly on the side of the road. Why didn't it tip over? I don't know which driver drove like that. Was he colorblind? Couldn't he see the traffic lights? Omo carefully helped Mew Baining up, but she stumbled and almost knelt down next to Omo. "What happened?" he asked anxiously. "It's nothing. I think I twisted my ankle." At this moment, Mew Baining could not stand steadily at all, and could only support Omo's body. More and more people gathered around, and even the driver of the small van ran over, revealing a mouthful of yellow teeth, and asked, "Are you all right? You too?" At this moment, the driver's heart was beating extremely fast, and even his arms were trembling. He knew that it was the handsome young man in front of him who had saved the woman. Once Mew Baining had recovered her senses, she knew what had happened. A car had come by and apparently hadn't been able to stop in time, nearly hitting her. Then Omo pushed her away. She was wearing high heels today, and when Omo pushed her, she twisted her ankle. "Aside from some abrasions on my back, I'm fine." Seeing that Mew Baining was all right, Omo glared fiercely at the van driver and demanded, "How the hell did you drive?" Chapter 14, could it be that I am destined to be Omo's? "I'm so sorry. I was driving, and on the phone, I got distracted, You... Omo wanted to say something more, but Mew Baining stopped him. "All right, Omo, stop talking." Mew Baining looked at the driver with his yellow teeth and cold eyes. "I'll let it go this time, but be more careful next time. You'd better drive away quickly. There's already a traffic jam." Okay. Seeing that Mew Baining had no intention of lingering, the driver quickly drove away. Omo wanted to give the driver a good scolding, but if Professor Mew hadn't stopped him, he would have given the driver a thorough dressing down. The breakfast she bought was spilled all over the floor and was no longer usable. As for the little kitten from before, it's long gone. Omo looked around at the people and said, "All right, everyone disperse. Stop looking." After everyone dispersed, Mu Ziomo helped Mu Baining to the roadside. Sitting on a bench, Mu Baining touched her aching ankle, gritted her teeth, and let out a hissing groan. Professor Mu. Mu Ziomo looked at Mu Baining and felt a pang of heartache. He knew that he had twisted her ankle when he pushed her earlier. But there's nothing we can do. Thank you, Ziomo. Mu Baining gave a dry laugh. She knew that if it weren't for Mu Ziomo, she might have. It's all right, Professor Mu. Mu Ziomo shook her head. But I have to say a few more words, Professor Mu. In the future, when crossing the road, it is best to cross as quickly as possible. Even if the light is green, you should still pay attention to the road conditions. Of course, this time the blame lies entirely with that driver. I know. After being scolded by Mu Ziomo, Mu Baining nodded like an obedient girl this time. Mu Ziomo, I'm here this time, so you must be careful in the future. Otherwise, that man will worry about you. Upon hearing this, Mu Baining frowned slightly. That man, who is that man? Was he too embarrassed to admit that he was worried about her? Mu Baining couldn't help but ask, who is that man? Who else could it be but your dad, of course? Okay, I understand. Hearing this, Mu Baining felt somewhat disappointed. My own father, I would definitely worry. Mu Ziomo glanced at Mu Baining's ankles and noticed that she was wearing sheer stockings today, making her slender legs look especially sexy. Of course, this is not the time to discuss whether something is sexy or not. At this point, her right ankle was already swollen. It seems I can't walk anymore. Mu Ziomo asked softly, Professor Mu, can you still walk? I'll try. After resting for a while, the pain in my ankle lessened slightly. But when she tried to stand up after getting off the ground, she couldn't muster any strength at all. And it's extremely painful. Mu Baining gave up immediately. She tilted her head back, her expression somewhat unpleasant. No, it hurts too much, I can't exert any strength at all. I'll make a call and have Weiwei come pick me up. Mu Baining was about to take out her phone when two options suddenly appeared in front of Mu Ziomo. Option 1, tell Mu Baining that I will carry her back, take her back to her dormitory, wash her feet with cold water, and make her a nutritious breakfast. Option 2, say, okay, then I don't care anymore, I want to go back to playing games. Seeing these two options, Mu Ziomo rolled her eyes. There's no need to choose, of course it's option 2, or one above. Although my cooking skills aren't great, I can still manage to make a nutritious breakfast. Back when he was in school, he always made his own breakfast. No need, Professor Mu. Mu Ziomo snatched the phone from her hand. Don't bother others, I'll take care of this and take you home. Upon hearing this, Mu Baining felt a little embarrassed. Her face flushed. This isn't quite right, is it? However, Mu Ziomo didn't give her a chance to refuse. He grabbed Mu Baining, supporting her thigh with his left hand and her back with his right, and lifted her up in a princess carry. Extremely domineering. Because his father paid great attention to his physical fitness when he was young, Mu Ziomo has exceptionally good physical condition. I still have six-pack abs. Moreover, Mu Baining isn't fat. Her breasts are just a tiny bit big. She's slim everywhere else. She is 170 cm tall and weighs at most 110 kg. For Mu Ziomo, there was no pressure at all. What's more, he was holding a great beauty in his arms. There's a story that goes something like this. If you were asked to carry a 100-pound stone, you probably couldn't. But if you replaced the stone with a beautiful woman, you could carry her on your back, or even run with her in your arms. Mu Ziomo is currently in this situation. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Mu Ziomo carried Mu Baining in her arms and walked into the Magic University. There were many students passing by on campus at that time. When they saw Mu Ziomo holding a beautiful woman, they all cast curious glances at him. Meanwhile, some boys were looking at him with envy. However, Mu Ziomo ignored all of these. After all, it's all too common for someone to hug their girlfriend at school. As for Mu Baining, she buried her head in his chest with particular shyness. He was afraid of being recognized by the students. Feeling the aura emanating from Mu Ziomo's body, Mu Baining felt a complex mix of emotions. She felt that she and Mu Ziomo were destined to be together. From unwittingly leading him into the small hotel, to Mu Ziomo buying her sanitary napkins, and then to him risking his own safety to save her life today. Could all of this be part of God's plan? She has been a strong woman since childhood, and she is the only daughter in her family. She has been independent since she was a child, and can handle everything on her own. However, being in Mu Ziomo's arms at this moment gave her a great sense of security. She had never experienced this feeling before. Once you've experienced it, you won't want to lose it. Could it be that I am destined to be Musayomo's? But I'm 3 years older than her. He was still his student. What should I do? Mu Baning's feelings became increasingly complicated. Musayomo carried Mu Baning to the staff dormitory building. He looked at Mu Baning in his arms and asked, Professor Mu, what floor and room number is your dormitory? Ah, 6th floor, room 604. When she said this, Mu Baning was stunned. Oh my God, how could I have said that? Gossip Queen Liu Weiwei is still in the dorm. What if she sees us? What should I do? What should I do? Chapter 15, I didn't want him to go in either, but he called me beautiful lady. Mu Baning felt panicked, extremely panicked. Why did I speak without thinking? I blurted it out unconsciously. Fortunately, students are not allowed in the faculty and staff dormitories, especially boys. Thinking of this, Mu Baning breathed a sigh of relief. Musayomo carried Mu Baning as they stepped through the doorway. At the same time, the dormitory supervisor opened the window and said, Excuse me, this is the female faculty dormitory, you can't go in. Just as Mu Baning had expected, Musayomo was stopped by the dormitory supervisor. Musayomo turned her head upon hearing the sound and said, Excuse me, beautiful lady, I'm a freshman this year. I'm carrying my advisor, but she sprained her ankle. I'm helping her upstairs and will be right back down. Could you please make an exception? Mu Banings, the dorm supervisor. What did you just call me? Hearing Musayomo's words, the dormitory supervisor blushed. Even though I'm 47 this year, who isn't a little beauty? She was still wearing lipstick and getting her nails done. No matter how old you are, you can't be without a love for beauty. Upon hearing this, Musayomo said softly, Beautiful lady, is there a problem? This, /////Q. I didn't want him to go in either, but he called me beautiful lady. The dorm supervisor nodded slightly and waved her hand. Go in, no need to rush down, spend more time with your advisor. Okay, thank you, beautiful. After saying that, Musayomo walked to the elevator. When Musayomo saw that this middle-aged woman was wearing lipstick, she knew she was no ordinary person. Then a thought suddenly struck me. I should call her beautiful lady, and I felt that this method might work. Which girl doesn't want to be called beautiful? It really worked. Meanwhile, Mu Baning looked completely bewildered. This works. They just put him in there. Spend more time with her. While waiting for the elevator, Musayomo glanced down at Mu Baning in her arms. A faint, delicate fragrance wafted to his nose. Musayomo took a deep breath, savoring the subtle aroma, then glanced at Mu Baning in his arms. The elevator is almost here. Is it uncomfortable for me to hold you like this? No, it doesn't hurt. Mu Baning stammered, explaining that this was the first time she had been hugged by a boy, and it was normal for her to be nervous. Ding tilde. Just then the elevator arrived, and the doors slowly opened. There was no one inside. After going in, Musayomo pressed the button for the 6th floor. Mu Baning became increasingly nervous, wondering how to get Musayomo away once they reached the 6th floor. You can't just kick him out. Just as Mu Baning was deep in thought, the elevator doors opened and arrived at the 6th floor. Musayomo picked her up and stepped out. After looking around, the 4th room on the right was 604. Musayomo walked over, and at the same time, Mu Baning quickly said, Zayomo, you can just drop me off here. The room is a bit messy. She stammered while Musayomo said, Didn't Professor Mu say before that he has a slight obsession with cleanliness? It's okay, I can help you clean the room. Seeing that Mu Baning's expression was a little strange, Musayomo continued, What's wrong, Professor Mu? Are you afraid that I'll do something to you, or do you have some concerns? No. At this point, Mu Baning had already given up struggling. Let's go in then. She simply couldn't bring herself to tell Musayomo to leave. She felt that her conscience wouldn't allow it. She said, Zayomo, come a little closer, my arm can't touch the fingerprint lock. Musayomo took 2 steps forward, and Mu Baning placed her slender finger on the fingerprint recognition area. With a click, the door opened. The moment she pushed open the door, Musayomo smelled a faint fragrance. This was in stark contrast to the smell of stinky feet in his dorm room. Upon entering, one is greeted by a small, ordinary apartment. The room was painted white with latex paint, and contained 2 beds, a simple desk, a bathroom, a kitchen, and a balcony. The decor is simple yet gives a very sophisticated feel. The floor was carpeted, and Musayomo said softly, Professor Mu, do you need to change your shoes? No need, she shook her head. Seeing that Liu Weiwei was not in the room, Mu Baning took a deep breath. Where did that girl go? Who cares? It's better if she's not here. Hearing that she didn't need to change her shoes, Omo asked as she walked. Huh, Professor Mew, isn't this room for you alone? No. Mew Baining shook her head slightly in his arms. It's quite convenient for the two of us to share a room. Indeed, this way she can take care of you today. Without much thought, Omo placed Mew Baining on a bed. Then he squatted down and gently took off her high heels. Because of the sprained ankle, Omo tried to keep her foot still to prevent further injury. Upon closer inspection, Omo noticed that her ankle was red and swollen. It looks like he sprained his ankle quite badly. Mew Baining observed him with a particularly unnatural expression. She pursed her lips and said softly, "Little Mo, there's no need to look. My foot is fine. I just need to rest more recently. By the way, do you want some water? There's some Coke in the fridge. If you want some, just go get it yourself." "No need, Professor Mew." Omo looked up and said, "Let me wash your feet. Washing your feet with cold water can relieve the pain and slow down the blood flow, which will also help your feet recover." Mew Baining was about to refuse, but before she could even speak, Omo continued, "Don't refuse. Even if you refuse, I won't leave. Now I'll go get some water. Professor Mew, please take off your stockings first." After saying that, he walked towards the bathroom. Only Mew Baining, her face slightly flushed, remained. Good heavens, he even has to wash his own feet. What if Liu Weiwei comes back later and sees this? So annoying, so annoying. Mew Baining quickly took off the strips of meat wrapped around her legs. A few minutes later, Omo brought over a basin of water and placed it on the ground. Mew Baining felt particularly embarrassed. Seeing this scene inexplicably reminded her of the time when her father washed her feet when she was a child. "Professor Mew, please don't move while I'm washing your feet. I'll be very gentle." She put both her feet into the basin of water. Omo observed her sexy little feet and found that Professor Mew's feet were quite big, probably a size 39. That's normal, considering she's 170 cm tall. Stroking those delicate, jade-like feet, Omo felt a little overwhelmed. He couldn't help but want to look up, but the view above was blocked by Mew Baining's long dress. "Damn it, no, I can't think about those things." Omo restrained himself and immediately changed the subject, asking, "Professor Mew, which university did you graduate from? Why do I feel like crying during Chapter 16? Hearing Omo ask this, Mew Baining was slightly taken aback. Is he starting to check household registrations now? So she replied, "I studied in Shanghai, at Shanghai University of Science and Technology." Upon hearing this, Omo said, "Then Professor Mew's grades are quite good. Like Shanghai University of Science and Technology, Shanghai University of Technology is a key university under the 211 and 985 projects, and is considered a top-tier university in the field of science and engineering." At this time, Omo did not know her age, but judging from her appearance, she should be in her early 20s. "Professor Mew, you just graduated from university this year, and you've already become a professor." "Yes, that's right." Speaking of this, Mew Baining felt a little proud. At the Magic University, she was the only professor who was that young. As for Liu Weiwei, she was just a counselor. Mew Baining replied softly, "I've always had good grades since I was little. I won many awards at school, and then I came here with my certificates to apply for the job. I was fortunate enough to be selected. However, my university life was also very tiring, but fortunately it paid off, and I am very happy to meet you students now. I am also very happy to meet you, Professor Mew." Hearing Omo's words, Mew Baining felt that there was something more to them, but she didn't let herself think about it too much. Omo genuinely helped Professor Mew wash his feet. After washing them, it was time for the final step. "I just made her breakfast." After drying her feet, Omo picked her up and helped her lean against the headboard of the bed, then said, "I'm all washed up." Professor Mew, why don't you rest for a bit? You spilled the breakfast you bought earlier and haven't eaten yet. I'll go make you some breakfast and then head back. Just a moment." Mew Baining was stunned. She quickly said, No, Omo, I'm not very hungry, Professor Mew, please don't be so polite. I'm not going to drug you." Omo walked straight to the kitchen, and Mew Baining, watching Omo's figure, became lost in thought again. She never expected him to be so thoughtful, even washing her feet and cooking for her. So family-oriented. In the kitchen, Omo observed for a while. Damn it, there was only noodles in the kitchen and only 2 eggs left. No wonder she went out to buy breakfast this morning. At this moment, Omo noticed that the kitchen utensils and bowls were arranged quite neatly, and the kitchen was very clean. It seems that her slight obsession with cleanliness is true. Helpless, Muziomo had no choice but to make noodles for her. Bring a pot of water to a boil, chop the scallions, add the noodles after the water boils, and then crack in the remaining 2 eggs. Mu Baining stared blankly at Muziomo as she cooked. Just as she was observing his every move, Muziomo suddenly turned his head away, and Mu Baining couldn't help but turn her head away as well. A few minutes later, a steaming bowl of noodles is ready. Muziomo walked over carrying a bowl of noodles. When I saw Mu Baining, I noticed that her face had turned red again. Is this really the aloof, icy professor from the day before yesterday? Professor, it's ready. There were only noodles in the kitchen, so I cooked you a bowl. Do you need me to feed you? Upon hearing this, Mu Baining looked at him with disdain. What are you feeding me for? Of course, she wouldn't say that. Mu Baining shook her head. Little Mo, I just twisted my ankle. I'm not paralyzed. That's true. He nodded slightly and quickly moved closer to Mu Baining. Professor Mu, let me help you to the dining table. With Muziomo's help, Mu Baining skipped and hopped to the dining table and sat down in a chair. From this angle, Muziomo could see the hemisphere below her erector spinny. He quickly averted his gaze. Damn, how could Professor Mu be so handsome? He had a persistent, impulsive thought in his mind. Fortunately, Mu Baining didn't notice this scene. Muziomo, who was standing next to her, said, Professor Mu, please take your time eating. I just remembered that I have something to do, so I'll be leaving now. Leaving so early? Why don't you sit for a while longer? Mu Baining said this for some reason. No, Muziomo shrugged. I've been here for a long time and the dorm supervisor knows I'm here. I'm afraid she'll misunderstand something. After saying that, Muziomo turned her head away, and just then the system's voice came again. Ding, congratulations on completing the task. You have obtained the song Guest. Please sing this song at the welcome party. Upon hearing the system's feedback, Muziomo was overjoyed. The guest song, It's Extraordinary from the first listen. After the system's voice disappeared, Muziomo suddenly turned her head. He noticed that Mu Baining was staring at him. His eyes seemed a little infatuated. His sudden turn of his head startled Mu Baining, but she didn't avoid his gaze. Mu Baining asked, Zyromo is there? Is there anything else? Oh, Professor Mu, I wanted to say that you've helped me come up with the song for the welcome party. The song is called Guest, and it's my original song. I hope you can help me submit it to the school. Okay, Mu Baining nodded. Okay, thank you, Professor Mu. I'll head back now. After saying that, he opened the door and left the faculty dormitory. Mu Baining frowned slightly as she watched Muziomo's figure disappear. Original songs. Guest. I never expected Muziomo to be so talented. She can even write songs. A man who loves his wife, cares for his family, and is also so talented. Mu Baining muttered something, picked up her chopsticks, grabbed a noodle, and put it in her mouth. Then her eyes lit up. She added, she can cook too, and her food is so delicious. Hey, handsome, you've finished hanging out with your advisor. Remember to come visit often. Got it, beautiful. At the dormitory entrance, Muziomo chuckled, waved, and left the entrance of the faculty and staff dormitory. Unexpectedly, the dormitory supervisor didn't forget to say goodbye to him before he left. Looks like getting into faculty and staff dormitories will be a breeze from now on. Muziomo couldn't help but smile. He looked around and saw that there was no one there, so he hummed a song and walked towards the dormitory building. It turns out someone had already ordered your wedding dress. Thank you for the special invitation to witness my love. After completing the mission, the song Guest was deeply imprinted in his mind. Humming this song, for some reason, Muziomo's emotions were drawn into it. He fantasizes that he has an ex-girlfriend whom he still deeply loves, but then he receives an invitation to her wedding. Please invite him to be a guest at this wedding. Muziomo slapped her head. Damn, why do I feel like crying? Chapter 17. Wasn't it great to be close to Professor Mu? The main problem is that he's never been in a relationship. However, the emotions expressed in this song are indeed very deep. Everyone has a first love hidden in their heart, or someone who is impossible to be with. If I receive an invitation from her, even if I'm unwilling, I must grant her wish to be with her. After reviewing the lyrics, Muziomo slapped her thigh and exclaimed, Damn, this song is amazing. It's bound to be a huge hit once it's sung. Go back and listen to your 3 good sons first, and see what their opinions are. Just then, Muziomo's stomach suddenly started rumbling. I went to finish my task early this morning, then helped Professor Mu prepare breakfast, only to realize I hadn't eaten yet. So Omo went to the cafeteria first, bought 2 steamed buns, and then headed towards the dormitory. In the faculty and staff dormitory, after finishing the noodles made by Omo, Baining felt unsatisfied and had a lingering sense of enjoyment. I even want to have another bowl. For some reason, it was just a simple bowl of noodles, but it tasted so good. The ingredients in the kitchen are very ordinary, so why doesn't her cooking taste as good as Omo's? Could it be just psychological? After finishing the last sip of noodle soup, Baining slowly stood up, supporting herself on the table. She tried to put her right foot down, but as soon as she put pressure on her foot, she felt a piercing pain in her ankle. Hiss tilde ah. Baining couldn't help but let out a soft moan, and shivered involuntarily with her eyes closed. How much force did Omo use today? She pushed her so hard. In the end, Baining gave up on the idea of going to the kitchen to wash the dishes, and instead, she lifted her right leg and hopped comically onto the bed, where she sat down. Fortunately, we don't have classes for a while now because the students are doing military training. Otherwise, it would be terrible. Sigh, but Omo really did a great job today. She's exactly my ideal type. Omo's image kept flashing through her mind, and just then the dormitory door was suddenly opened. Liu Weiwei entered with a smile on her face and shouted loudly, "Gu Ningning, I'm starving. Where are my steamed buns?" Baining looked over upon hearing the sound and gave Liu Weiwei a disdainful glare. Everything that happened this morning was because of her. If I hadn't gone to buy her some Zaya Longbao soup dumplings, none of this would have happened today. Liu Weiwei has a sharp eye. She noticed something was wrong as soon as she came in. Baining was lying on the bed. And why is my ankle so swollen, both swollen and red? What's going on? Liu Weiwei, Baining's best friend, quickly went over, examined Baining's ankle, and then asked with a worried expression, "Ningning, what happened to your foot?" Snort. Baining snorted and complained, "It's all because of you. I twisted my ankle this morning when I was buying you Zaya Longbao. Everything I bought spilled and it hurt so much." Baining told a small lie and didn't tell anyone about what happened that morning. Firstly, I'm afraid Liu Weiwei will gossip. Secondly, I was afraid she would really worry and feel guilty. "Oh, Ningning, are you all right?" "Well, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have let you go buy it. I'm so sorry." Liu Weiwei quickly apologized. Seeing Liu Weiwei's expression, Baining smiled helplessly. "I didn't blame her. It's nothing, just a minor issue. You'll be fine after a couple of days of rest. I just cooked a bowl of noodles and I haven't washed the bowl yet. Could you go and wash the pot and bowl for me?" "Good." Liu Weiwei readily agreed. After standing up, she said, "Ningning, you can actually have your boyfriend take care of you. Give the dormitory supervisor a small gift later and she'll let your boyfriend in. I can move out or you can live together. That way I can have my godson sooner, hee. Ningning, do you think what I said makes sense?" Baining rolled her eyes. "You dog Weiwei, here we go again. Shut up and go wash your dishes." Hey. In the boys' dormitory. Holy crap. While browsing the forum of Shanghai University of Science and Technology and looking at beautiful girls, Bai Yuntao suddenly uttered a phrase about the essence of Chinese culture. Because he saw a forum. The forum's title was, "Life or Death Moment." A small truck ran a red light and a student from the University of Science and Technology of China, USDC, lunged to save it. The scene was absolutely thrilling. There's a video in the post. The video shows the whole process of Zaya Omo rescuing Baining this morning. Bai Yuntao was extremely surprised after seeing the video content. Du Yang, who was playing a game, looked impatient. "Hey, this is the 8th time you've said, 'Holy shit, what's wrong now?' Is she wearing black stockings or a bikini this time?" No. Bai Yuntao shouted, "Brother Mo, you're awesome. You saved Professor Mu's life at the school gate today." "What?" Upon hearing Bai Yuntao's words, Huang Wenxu and Du Yang quickly turned their heads. "Save Professor Mu's life. What the heck?" Huang Wenxu jumped down from the top bunk. The ground shook with a bang, and then Huang Wenxu and Du Yang's heads popped out. "Watch the video." Bai Yuntao opened the video, which was taken by a surveillance camera at the school gate, and it captured the road leading from the gate to the other side of the road. The video is not very long, only a little over a minute long. In the video, Baining, carrying the food she bought, saw a little yellow cat in the middle of the road, slowly squatted down and picked up the kitten. Then a tall figure suddenly came over and pushed her away. The moment the screen was opened, a white pickup truck suddenly rushed over from outside the screen. Even, in the video, you can clearly see Zaya Omo and Baining kissing. Holy crap! After watching the video, All three of them turned their attention to Mu-Zaya-Omo. Mu-Zaya-Omo was slightly taken aback. What the heck? Then Mu-Zaya-Omo was severely tortured by her three roommates. Actually, Mu-Zaya-Omo didn't want to talk about what happened today. They also carried Mu Baining into the dormitory. If my three roommates found out, they'd definitely start spouting nonsense. Then they would ask if he had done anything with Mu Baining or something like that. Mu-Zaya-Omo really wanted to curse the person who uploaded the video online. How could they post something like this on the school forum? They must have had nothing better to do. Helpless, Mu-Zaya-Omo had no choice but to explain to his roommate. I went out to buy some things this morning and this happened by chance. I didn't think much about it at the time and just ran over. Then what? Bai Yuntao couldn't help but ask. And then you took the opportunity to forcibly kiss Professor Mu. Mu-Zaya-Omo rolled her eyes. Nonsense, who the hell knew that my mouth would touch hers when I landed? Huang Wengsu looked incredulous. I think you did it on purpose. Du Yang, yes, I feel the same way. And Mu-Zaya-Omo was speechless. Bai Yuntao then asked, how was it? Did you enjoy kissing Professor Mu? In Chapter 18, the person who rushed to save you in the video was your boyfriend, right? This. Mu-Zaya-Omo blushed slightly. I didn't feel anything, but my first kiss really did happen so haphazardly with Professor Mu. Holy crap, I'm so jealous. Bai Yuntao's face was full of envy. He pouted and said, I also want to save our counselor. I also want to kiss Professor Mu. You're dreaming, Huang Wengsu retorted to Bai Yuntao, then turned his gaze back to Mu-Zaya-Omo. Brother Mo, so what happened next? Where did you take Professor Mu then? Mu-Zaya-Omo was taken aback. Damn, it seems that she was also caught on camera while hugging Professor Mu. He shrugged and said helplessly, where else can we go? Of course, we'll go to Professor Mu's dormitory. Do you expect me to take her to a hotel? Good heavens! Torture! Hearing this, the three of them felt a pang of sadness again. Did they all go to Professor Mu's dormitory? Why is Mu-Zaya-Omo so lucky? Bai Yuntao grinned mischievously. So how about it? Anyone in the dorm talking to Professor Mu? Mu-Zaya-Omo rolled her eyes at him with disdain, wondering what was going on in his head. Get out, get out, get out, Mu-Zaya-Omo said. If I do anything, you won't see me tomorrow. It will take at least 3 years. Bai Yuntao, 3 years of blood money, even a death sentence is worth it. Get lost, Mu-Zaya-Omo waved her hand. All right, stop gossiping. This matter is over. There's nothing to say about it. Bai Yuntao nodded as well. But Brother Mo, you're really brave. The car was rushing towards us so fast and you still went to save Professor Mu. If it were me, I wouldn't dare. Hiss Tilda. Hearing Bai Yuntao say this, Mu-Zaya-Omo couldn't help but shudder. He was right. If he had reacted a second or two slower, he and Professor Mu might have ascended to immortality. Fortunately, the speed was fast enough that no serious consequences occurred. At this moment, Mu-Zaya-Omo remembered that he hadn't let his roommate listen to the song he had prepared. I wonder if this song can make them cry. So Mu-Zaya-Omo said, by the way, brothers, I want to sing a song at the welcome party after military training. What do you guys think? Upon hearing this, the three of them naturally had no objections. I'm all ears. Inside the faculty and staff dormitory, a doctor in a white coat is examining Mu Baining's foot. After a moment, he said, it's okay, the ankle injury isn't too serious. Just rest for a few days and remember to ice it for 2 days. If it really hurts, you can take some ibuprofen capsules. Don't forget to take anti-swelling medicine. Okay, I understand. Thank you, Dr. Wang. School Dr. Wang was called by Liu Weiwei, so at least that girl still has a conscience. Upon hearing this, the school doctor nodded. No need to thank me, but please walk slowly in the future. If you're not used to wearing high heels, then don't wear them. I've put the medicine on the table. If there's nothing else, I'll head back now. Upon hearing this, Liu Weiwei, who was standing nearby, quickly put down the potato chips she was holding, stood up and walked over. Dr. Wang, let me take you there. Haha, no need to see me off. You should take good care of your roommates. No, I want to deliver it. Liu Weiwei saw the school doctor out of the room, and 2 minutes later, she walked over with a big smile. Her face was full of infatuation, and her eyes were brimming with love. As soon as she came in, she couldn't help but say to Mu Baining, Ningning, how can school Dr. Wang be so handsome? So handsome, he's totally my oppa. Mu Baining shrugged. Liu Weiwei was a devoted woman, completely obsessed with love. There's no one she doesn't love who's good-looking. Liu Weiwei continued, Ningning, why didn't you hurt the more serious parts? That way I could see school Dr. Wang more often, letter FF89, letter FF89. Mu Baining's face turned cold. So you called school Dr. Wang over not to treat my feet, but so you could admire handsome men. This, Liu Weiwei pouted. How could that be? Ning Ning, am I that kind of person? Yes. She pouted and said, HMPH, I'm ignoring you. I'm going to keep browsing the school forum and looking at handsome guys. After saying that, Liu Weiwei picked up the potato chips on the table and started eating them while scrolling through her phone. Mu Baining sighed, looking at her jade-like feet, and the image of Mu Xiaomo came to mind again. A few minutes later, a post titled Life or Death Moment. A small truck ran a red light, and a student from the University of Science and Technology of China, USDC, lunged to save it. The scene was amazing, caught Liu Weiwei's eye. She who loves gossip clicked on it immediately. When the video started playing, the person standing on the zebra crossing, wasn't that Mu Baining? Well, she glanced up at Mu Baining lying on the bed, then continued watching the video. Mu Baining saw a very cute little orange kitten, squatted down, picked up the kitten, and then someone came over and pushed her down. At the same time, a car sped past them. They were nearly hit. This, Liu Weiwei's eyes widened, and she was somewhat at a loss for words at the sudden turn of events. She carefully examined the person on the screen. Yes, it was Mu Baining. The dress she's wearing in the video is the floral dress she's wearing now. Moreover, the timing of the video matches the time she went to buy steamed buns. Could it be? Considering Mu Baining's foot injury, did Ning Ning lie to her? Thinking about it, Liu Weiwei stood up angrily. How could such a big thing happen, and you didn't even tell her? Ning Ning, what's going on? She threw the phone directly into Mu Baining's arms. What's wrong? Mu Baining was somewhat puzzled. After watching the video on her phone, her expression became complicated. Who the hell posted this video online? And Liu Weiwei happened to see it. Weiwei, about this? Mu Baining was about to explain when Liu Weiwei burst into tears. She choked back tears and said, Ning Ning, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked you to buy food this morning. I'm so sorry, I was really wrong. Liu Weiwei was genuinely worried about Mu Baining. The two had lived together for 4 years, helping and supporting each other in their studies. Their bond had reached an immeasurable level. If something really happened to Mu Baining because of her, she would feel guilty for the rest of her life. Seeing Liu Weiwei crying so sadly, Mu Baining quickly stepped forward to comfort her. Weiwei, I'm not blaming you. Besides, I was distracted and didn't notice the cars around me while I was holding the kitten. And I'm fine now, don't cry. She held Liu Weiwei's hand and gently stroked the back of her hand. After a while, she stopped crying. You really don't blame me. Mu Baining shook her head. It's not your fault. Liu Weiwei then asked, so the person who rushed to save you in the video was your boyfriend, right? Chapter 19. Why does she blush when someone shows her concern? I've changed my mind. I blame you. I'm very angry. Mu Baining was utterly speechless. She thought that after her big cry, Liu Weiwei would stop gossiping about her and Mu Xiaomo. Unexpectedly, he still can't change his love for gossip. It's like a dog can't stop eating shit. Upon hearing Mu Baining's words, Liu Weiwei quickly apologized. Oh no, I was wrong, Ning Ning. I swear to God I won't gossip about you for 24 hours. Get out of here. In the dormitory. Waya, I thought of my first love. This song is awesome. Sob, 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 Moji. There must be a girl in your heart who is impossible for you, right? After listening to Mu Xiaomo sing, Guest, by Yuntao, Huang Wenxu and Du Yang felt as if they had received an invitation from their ex-girlfriend. Huang Wenxu also shared his online dating story with them. He said he once had a beloved online girlfriend who never video chatted or sent voice messages. And it turned out she was a creepy old man pretending to be a girl. The three of them burst into laughter. Good heavens, they were going to start fencing right away when they met. Mu Xiaomo then asked her 3 roommates for their opinions on the song Guest. Their reactions were very positive, saying that if she sang this song, she would definitely become a big hit at Magic Science University. Mu Xiaomo didn't think much of it. Why bother with all that? She'd just sing it when the time came. At noon, he and his roommates went to the cafeteria for lunch, and then returned to their dormitory to rest. At 2 p.m., Mu Xiaomo was organizing his documents when he suddenly received a message on WeChat. It was sent by Mu Baining. Xiaomo, please go to the science building at 2:30 this afternoon to pick up our class's military training uniforms, and then please distribute them to them. Okay. Mu Xiaomo replied to Mu Baining with a single word, hesitated for a moment, and then asked, How is Professor Mu? Is your ankle feeling better? Mu Baining quickly replied, I'm much better now. My roommate called the school doctor over and said there's nothing wrong. I'll be fine after a few days of rest. Musayo. Okay, Professor Mew, please get some rest. Feel free to contact me anytime if you need anything. On the other side, Mew Baining blushed when she saw the message Musayo sent her. You can contact him anytime if you need anything. That makes me feel so safe. Mew Baining was a little confused. What was wrong with her? Why did she blush when someone showed her concern? In the dormitory, after receiving instructions from Mew Baining, Musayo began to pack her things. He was just about to get out of bed when his phone received another message. However, it wasn't Mew Baining, but his classmate, Zia Yaoyu. Musayo had a deep impression of Zia Yaoyu. Although she wasn't particularly stunning, she was very pleasing to the eye. It's the kind of show you can watch over and over again without getting tired of it, and I bet quite a few people are into it. What does Zia Yaoyu want with him? Filled with curiosity, Musayo clicked on it. Brother Zio, did Professor Mew inform you that the class monitor should go downstairs in the lab building to collect the military training uniforms in half an hour? Upon seeing her message, Musayo couldn't help but shudder. Brother Zio, this way of addressing me, just feels awkward. However, he didn't think much of it and replied, "Yes, I understand. I'll go down right away." "Okay, I'll go over there too, and will help you later." Musayo did not reply to the message. After getting out of bed, he patted the edge of Bai Yuntao's bed. "Taozi, don't sleep. Professor Mew asked me to go get my military training uniform later. Go and lend a hand." Okay." Bai Yuntao, still sleepy, stretched, yawned, and got out of bed. At the same time, Musayo also woke up her other two roommates. After washing their faces, the four of them closed the dormitory door, went downstairs together, and arrived at the location of the laboratory building. Many students had already gathered here, and their positions had been assigned according to their colleges. Musayo was in the School of Information Technology. He quickly found his place and lined up with his roommates to receive their military training uniforms. Just then, he was suddenly patted on the shoulder. "Hello, Brother Zio." The person who took the picture of her was none other than Zia Yaoyu, who had just contacted her. Musayo turned her head and noticed that Zia Yaoyu was wearing light makeup today. She was wearing a pink short-sleeved shirt and white shorts with her long hair down, and at first glance, she actually looked quite pretty. Her makeup was very fresh, and her small lips were especially sexy. My first impression of her was that she was pure and innocent, the kind of cute and gentle girl. However, her shortcomings are also obvious, namely that she is somewhat unremarkable. If she stood next to Mew Baining, there would be no comparison at all. There's a saying that goes, "Cuteness is worthless compared to sexiness." Musayo strongly supports this statement. The moment Musayo turned her head away, Zia Yaoyu's pretty face turned bright red. Having never been in close contact with Musayo before, she discovered that Musayo was incredibly handsome. Not only is he handsome, but he also has very fair skin and a faint scent of perfume. "I love it." Upon seeing Musayo, Zia Yaoyu's heart raced faster and faster. She immediately handed the cola in her hand to Musayo. "Hey Zio, it's pretty hot out there, so I bought you a Coke." Upon hearing this, Musayo was completely bewildered. "I bought him a Coke. Why did I buy him a Coke?" Meanwhile, Bai Yuntao and the others behind Musayo were also completely bewildered. "Depend on." It's obvious that Zia Yaoyu has taken a liking to him. Judging from Zia Yaoyu's shy expression, you can tell that she must have taken a liking to Musayo. Sour, sour, sour. At this moment, Bai Yuntao suddenly remembered that Huang Wenxu seemed to have mentioned Zia Yaoyu to him. Seeing Zia Yaoyu giving water to another boy, this guy must be feeling really sad, right? Seeing Zia Yaoyu's expectant look, Musayo panicked for a moment, and then Zia Yaoyu was directly stuffed into his arms. "Little Mo, please take it. Oh, and I also have some lollipops, please have some too." As she spoke, she took out a lollipop that looked like the one from Piggy Hero from her pocket. "Thank you." Musayo's mind went blank for a moment, and then he realized that Zia Yaoyu must have taken a liking to him. But he already has Mew Baining. Looks like I'll have to give her a hint later. Musayo doesn't want a girl to keep sacrificing for him, because he's not a jerk. Zia Yaoyu chatted awkwardly with Musayo, while Bai Yuntao, Huang Wenxu, and Du Yang behind her looked utterly dejected. The main problem is, they are classmates and Zia Yaoyu didn't even greet them when she arrived. We're classmates after all, we should at least say hello, right? Could it be that Zia Yaoyu doesn't know them at all? Depend on. Thinking of this, Bai Yuntao was speechless. It's outrageous that I don't recognize them. It has to be said, good looks are everything. Chapter 20's line, "You're not thin to begin with," directly defines a straight man. The group moved forward gradually, and soon it was Mu Zyaomo's turn. The military training uniform consists of an outer jacket, a t-shirt, trousers, a hat, and shoes. There are quite a lot of items, but with the help of my roommates and Zia Yaoyu, we were able to collect them relatively quickly. Mu Zyaomo looked at the information sheet on her phone. 3 sets for 165 cm, 1 set for 170 cm. That's all. At this moment, Bai Yuntao, Huang Wenxu, and Du Yang had already separated the sizes on the boys' side. Most of them are 170, 175, and 180 cm tall. Of course, there are also a few who are 185 cm tall. Since there are only 4 girls in the class, Zia Yaoyu can just bring the military training uniform to her roommate. Mu Zyaomo's gaze fell on Zia Yaoyu, and she said softly, "All right, Yaoyu, you can take care of delivering it to the girls. Since you're all in the same dorm, it'll be convenient for you." "No problem, brother Zyaomo." Tilde. Upon hearing Zyaomo's voice, Bai Yuntao, Huang Wenxu, and Du Yang all twitched their lips. The way he calls me Little Mo brother is so endearing. When Zia Yaoyu received her military training uniform, she completely ignored the 3 of them. Instead, he kept trying to get close to Mu Zyaomo, engaging in awkward small talk. This scene made the 3 of them feel quite displeased. This girl looks at them completely differently than she looks at Mu Zyaomo. It's obvious she's taken a liking to Mu Zyaomo. Mu Zyaomo nodded slightly. "No need to thank me, then go back. I'm going back with my roommates too." "Okay, goodbye, brother Mo." Zio Yaoyu waved to Mu Zyaomo, her heart filled with joy. While her crush smiled at her and called her Yaoyu, what an endearing name. Omega. Moreover, when we were receiving our military training uniforms, he seemed to be staring at me the whole time. Thinking of this, Zia Yaoyu's face turned red, and she murmured, "Could it be that he has fallen for me?" Yes, she made one of the 3 great illusions. He liked me. Thinking about how she had put on beautiful makeup and wore such nice clothes today, and how many male classmates had asked for her WeChat a few days ago when school started, Zia Yaoyu was full of confidence. She was now certain that Mu Zyaomo had fallen for her. And since she just accepted my Coke and lollipop, she must have accepted me. This is giving her a chance. Thinking about this, Zia Yaoyu felt that she had to take the initiative. It is said that it is easy for a man to pursue a woman, but easy for a woman to pursue a man. Then let me break through this veil. So Zia Yaoyu took out her phone. Then I sent a WeChat message to Mu Zyaomo. "Brother Zyaomo, military training starts tomorrow. How about I treat you to dinner tonight? Let's go eat barbecue so we'll have the energy for training tomorrow, Omega." On the other side, Mu Zyaomo and his roommates were walking towards their dormitory. They also talked about Zia Yaoyu from earlier. Huang Wenxu couldn't help but say, "I'm telling you, Zia Yaoyu is definitely a sucker for good looks. She's practically staring at Zyaomo, and she even calls him brother. Ugh tilde." Du Yang couldn't help but laugh. "Tusk, tusk, tusk, Huang Wenxu, you're jealous." Bai Yuntao, not to be rude, but Huang Wenxu said yesterday that Zia Yaoyu is pretty. "You're talking nonsense. When did I say that?" Huang Wenxu rolled his eyes at Bai Yuntao, then grinned mischievously. "Brother Mo, so are you interested in Zia Yaoyu? Although that girl has nothing special about her chest, she's pretty and has a good figure." "Not interested," Mu Zyaomo said quite decisively. Just then his cell phone rang. It's the sound of receiving a WeChat message. "Who sent you the message?" Huang Wenxu was right next to Mu Zyaomo. When he saw Mu Zyaomo take out her phone, he guessed, "I bet it's Zia Yaoyu." After opening her phone, Mu Zyaomo saw that it really was Zia Yaoyu. Upon seeing the message Zia Yaoyu sent him, Mu Zyaomo was taken aback. "Inviting me to dinner." "What?" Upon hearing this, Huang Wenxu's face darkened. "I knew it. I never imagined my goddess would actually fall for you, sob sob." Bai Yuntao said, Look, this has given us away. We've even started calling her a goddess." He then turned his gaze to Mu Zyaomo. "However, Zia Yaoyu is considered one of the most beautiful women in our department, brother Zyaomo. Are you really not going to consider her?" Upon hearing this, Mu Zyaomo replied, "I already have Professor Mu. If you had to choose between Professor Mu and Zia Yaoyu, who would you choose?" "Of course it's Professor Mu," Bai Yuntao blurted out without thinking. "That solves it." Seeing that Zia Yaoyu had invited him to dinner, Mu Zyaomo felt a bit of a headache. He's already invited her to dinner. This girl must have a crush on him. He didn't want to keep her hanging on, so it was better to politely refuse. Bai Yuntao, who was standing to the side, noticed that Mu Xiaomo's expression was a little off and asked, "What's wrong? Are you trying to have your cake and eat it too? Go away and play somewhere else." Mu Xiaomo rolled her eyes at Bai Yuntao, then said, "I'm thinking about how to politely refuse Zia Yaoyu so as not to leave her with any lingering feelings." "That's easy." Huang Wengsu, who was standing next to him, suddenly spoke up. "Brother Mo, I have a way to not only politely reject Zia Yaoyu, but also make her never talk to you again. Do you want to give it a try?" "Huh, is there such a good thing?" Mu Xiaomo's eyes lit up when she heard Huang Wengsu's words. Huang Wengsu nodded. "Of course, but you will lose Zia Yaoyu permanently, are you sure?" "Of course I'm sure." Mu Xiaomo didn't think much of it. After all, she had already fallen for him, and it would be awkward for them to meet after he rejected her. "Okay, give me your phone. I'll reply to your message for you." Upon hearing this, Mu Xiaomo immediately handed her phone to Huang Wengsu. At the same time, Bai Yuntao, Du Yang, and Mu Xiaomo all turned their attention to Huang Wengsu's phone. "I want to see what this guy is up to." Huang Wengsu's chubby little hand quickly typed a line of text on the screen. "Eating barbecue? Seriously? You're not thin to begin with, and you're eating such greasy food." After typing, Huang Wengsu clicked send. That way, if he comforts Zia Yaoyu later, there might still be a chance. "How clever of me." Seeing that Huang Wengsu had sent out the message, Mu Xiaomo and the others stared at each other in disbelief. "Holy crap, that's awesome, Brother Huang." Bai Yuntao couldn't help but pat Huang Wengsu on the shoulder, and Huang Wengsu said, "We should all learn from each other." He gave a maternal smile. "I feel that Zia Yaoyu's face must look as ugly as if she'd swallowed a fly right now. Girls are very concerned about their figure." Saying, "You're not thin to begin with," can directly reduce her liking for Mo Ji and further highlight that Mo Ji is a straight man. Secondly, saying that gives me a chance, Kanada, Kanjo Inus, Omega Kanada, Kanjo Inus. Chapter 21, Professor Mu invites me to dinner. This, Mu Xiaomo was slightly taken aback. Good heavens, he could actually do something like this. No wonder he is Huang Wengsu. Upon hearing Huang Wengsu's words, Bai Yuntao exclaimed, "Damn, you're such a jerk." He. Huang Wengsu handed the phone directly to Mu Xiaomo and said, "Brother Mo, no need to thank me, just treat me to a meal later." Xing, Mu Xiaomo nodded in agreement. Anyway, he had already sent the message, and he figured Zia Yaoyu wouldn't talk to him anymore. This didn't matter to Mu Xiaomo, because right now, his mind is completely filled with Professor Mu, Omega. On the other side, just as Huang Wengsu said, Zia Yaoyu's expression was as ugly as if she had swallowed a fly after seeing Mu Xiaomo's reply. She was just fantasizing that Mu Xiaomo would accept her invitation, and then the two of them would go to a barbecue restaurant and have some drinks. She's quite pretty, so if she takes the initiative while drinking, flirting and kissing are easily achievable. That's how love comes about. Unexpectedly, this Mu Xiaomo, who is made of titanium alloy, actually said, "You're not thin to begin with." What does this mean? This means she's fat. She is only 165 cm tall and weighs less than 100 kg. Exactly the kind of lady and sweet girl that others would describe. She's the goddess that everyone else longs for. How come in Mu Xiaomo's mouth? It's because she herself isn't thin. At this moment, Zia Yaoyu even wanted to grab a knife and go over there to stab Mu Xiaomo. After all, no girl wants to be told that she is not good-looking or is fat. Then Mu Xiaomo said that. "Never mind." Zia Yaoyu clenched her little fist and then replied to Mu Xiaomo with a smiley face. Buff. In the dormitory, Mu Xiaomo couldn't help but smile when he saw Zia Yaoyu reply with a smiley face. At this moment, he could already picture Zia Yaoyu's expression in his mind. His favorability rating in her heart should have decreased by 999. Who cares? Mu Xiaomo didn't think much of it. From now on, Zia Yaoyu would probably roll her eyes at him whenever she saw him. That's good, at least he doesn't have to worry about her bothering him anymore, which saves him a lot of trouble. The next step was to distribute the military training uniforms to all the students. After finishing, Mu Xiaomo returned to her dormitory, washed her face, and then took out her phone to send a message to Mu Baining. "Professor Mu, the military training uniforms have all been distributed. Military training starts tomorrow. Is there anything you need to tell me? Generally speaking, if there's military training tomorrow, the counselor will go to the study room tonight to hold a meeting with the students in the class and explain some things about tomorrow's military training." But Mu Baining twisted her ankle, so she probably won't be able to go. On the other side, Mu Baining blushed upon seeing Mu Xiaomo's message. This brat is actually quite responsible. After careful consideration, Mu Baining had to admit that Mu Omo had indeed done a good job these past 2 days. He had done the tasks she assigned him exceptionally well, and most importantly, he had done them very quickly and efficiently. If things continue like this, it seems that Mu Omo is the only one who can become class monitor. After thinking carefully for a moment, Mu Baining realized there was nothing to explain. So she typed back, "Actually, there's nothing much to explain. I'll announce it in the group tonight, and then you can take your classmates to the playground to assemble at 7:30 tomorrow morning. I believe you can manage the class well." Finally, Mu Baining vaguely said thank you to her. "By the way, thank you for saving me today. I'll treat you to dinner later, Zio Mo." Mu Baining clicked send immediately, and at the same time she became a little anxious. Oh dear, why did I say such a thing? She really wanted to meet Mu Ziomo, but wasn't this too obvious? Mu Baining had never felt this way before. She didn't know why she was always so careful when messaging a boy, and was even afraid of saying the wrong thing. That's really strange. However, Mu Ziomo did save her today and even brought her back, washed her feet, cooked for her, and treated her to a meal. What's wrong with that? He wouldn't think much of it. Thinking about this, Mu Baining rubbed her head. This was really strange. On the other side, when Mu Baining saw that she was going to treat him to a meal, Mu Omo immediately showed a maternal smile. Being treated to a meal by my counselor, that's surreal. But then again, should we go to a restaurant, or should Mu Baining cook it herself? Compared to restaurants, Mu Omo definitely wanted to eat what Mu Baining made. After all, the meanings are different. So he asked, "Okay, Professor Mu, shall we go to a restaurant, or will you cook yourself?" Upon seeing Mu Omo's message, Mu Baining looked at her with disdain. They even asked where to eat. Why are they being so picky? When has she ever treated a guy to a meal alone? It's already a good thing that you were invited. After a moment of calm, Mu Baining replied, "Do you want me to take you to a restaurant, or should I cook for you myself?" Good heavens! When Mu Omo saw this, he was surprised that Professor Mu would ask him so patiently. So Mu Omo replied without hesitation, "Of course, Professor Mu will cook himself." For Mu Omo, going to a restaurant was too boring. Of course, she would have Professor Mu cook for her personally. I can help out then and create some physical contact, which will increase my favorability. After all, the premise of love is to create ambiguity and then escalate the relationship. In enclosed environments, men and women doing something together can enhance their understanding and rapport. Then, if the man does well in a certain aspect, he can also attract the woman. The essence of love is novelty. Mu Baining, seeing Mu Omo's reply, wondered what Mu Omo was up to. Since her cooking skills weren't too bad, she didn't intend to refuse. She recently spent a lot of money starting her own business, and she doesn't have much savings left. Not taking him to restaurants will save her some money. However, Mu Baining did not directly agree to Mu Omo's request. Instead, she replied, "It depends on your performance. If you behave well in the next few days, I can consider it." Okay. Seeing that Mu Baining said she could consider it, Mu Omo already knew that the matter was settled. Although Mu Omo hadn't known Professor Mu for long, she could tell that if Mu Baining didn't want to do something, she would refuse directly. Saying they can consider it means they've agreed. At this moment, Mu Baining sent another message. "I've already submitted your program to the school. Students from the arts department might contact you later. If rehearsals are needed, just go there." Okay. While Mu Omo and Mu Baining were chatting, Huang Wenxu also added Zia Yaoyu on WeChat, intending to comfort her wounded heart. That dog Mu Omo hurt his goddess's feelings. Of course he needs to comfort her. So Huang Wenxu, with a motherly smile, sent a message to Zia Yaoyu. "Little sister Yaoyu, are you there?" Chapter 22, even boiling sheep would have to offer you a cigarette. On the other hand, after Zia Yaoyu returned the military training uniform to her dormitory, she went directly to the school's gym and bought a year-long gym membership. Actually, she was quite angry when Mu Omo said she wasn't thin. If someone else said she was fat, she would never talk to them again. But Mu Omo is different. Considering how handsome he is, I'll forgive him. Moreover, I have indeed gained a lot of weight recently, from 88 kg in my second year of high school to 97 kg now. What Mu Omo said does make some sense. It's best to avoid oily foods like barbecue and try to control your weight as soon as possible. Zia Yaoyu was running on the treadmill when her phone vibrated in her pocket. Zump! She took out her phone and discovered it was Huang Wenxu, who had just added her on WeChat. They should be classmates. Is little sister Yaoyu here? Upon seeing this cheesy message, Zia Yaoyu immediately lost the desire to reply. This is way too obvious, and calling her Yaoyu's little sister. That's kind of disgusting. However, wanting to make a good impression on her new classmates, she politely replied with yes. Lying on his dormitory bed, Huang Wengsu couldn't help but grin when he saw his crush reply to him. Although the word "at" is very brief, it at least sends a relatively positive signal to the girl. Now it's time to introduce yourself. Huang Wengsu typed rapidly with both hands. Hello, my name is Huang Wengsu. We met when we were getting our military training uniforms. Zia Yaoyu knew Huang Wengsu because he was just like his name, very yellow. The expression on his face during his self-introduction was priceless. Without thinking much, she simply typed a few words. I know you. Is there anything I can help you with? Nice. Huang Wengsu in the dormitory couldn't help but clench his fist, a victorious expression appearing on his face. She actually said she remembered me. The fact that she remembers him means that he has an impression of her, and at the very least, their relationship has progressed a little bit. This is the time to comfort her, since Mu Ziomo spoke ill of her. His sister needed comforting. With a lewd smile, Huang Wengsu started typing again. I just saw the message my roommate Mu Ziomo sent you. That Mu Ziomo is just too much. I don't think you're fat at all, in fact, you're quite slim. We're starting military training tomorrow. How about I treat you to some barbecue to replenish your energy? Upon seeing this message, Zia Yaoyu rolled her eyes. It's confirmed this fat guy has his eye on me, and he even spoke ill of brother Zairo Mo. That's really too much. A hint of anger flashed across Zia Yaoyu's face. She turned off the treadmill, stood still, and her slender hands rapidly tapped on her phone's screen. No, I think what brother Zaiomo said makes a lot of sense. I weighed 88 pounds in my second year of high school, and now I weigh 97 pounds. I have indeed gained a lot of weight. Also, you're not exactly thin, so don't eat such greasy food, or you might not be able to find a girlfriend. Finally, Huang, I hope you won't say bad things about brother Zaiomo. You've really gone too far. After typing, Zia Yaoyu felt much better. She put her phone in her pocket and continued running. On the other side, Huang Wengsu was stunned when he saw Zia Yaoyu's reply. I was actually criticized by my goddess for being too fat. Also, what does it mean to say that you can't speak ill of brother Zaiomo? And what does it mean that what he said makes sense? I came here to comfort you, and this is how you treat me. Japanese letter, de letter FF89. Huang Wengsu was furious. Why does Zia Yaoyu's speech sound a bit like she's being sarcastic or effeminate? She's definitely a hypocrite. Why do I suddenly feel like a simp? For a moment, Huang Wengsu thought about many things, and at the same time his mood plummeted. Does this count as breaking up before even starting a relationship? Feeling the bed shaking, Bai Yuntao couldn't help but raise his head, looking at Huang Wengsu's utterly resigned expression, and asked, What's wrong, Lao Huang? Why did your smiling face suddenly turn into this? Don't even mention it. Huang Wengsu took a deep breath and said helplessly, Zia Yaoyu is in a bad mood, and I wanted to comfort her, but I didn't expect that when I sent her my message, she would retort instead. What the hell? Upon hearing this, Bai Yuntao immediately became interested. Huang Wengsu is such a rascal. He just used Zairo Mo's phone to say she was fat, and then he went to comfort her. He's really something else. Bai Yuntao then asked, Let me see how she retorted to you. Snort. Huang Wengsu's goodwill towards Zia Yaoyu had completely vanished. Without giving it much thought, he handed his phone directly to Bai Yuntao. The chat history was very short. Bai Yuntao finished reading it in just over 10 seconds. After reading it, Bai Yuntao couldn't help but give Huang Wengsu a thumbs up. Real torture. Even boiling sheep would offer you a cigarette if he saw you. All right, give me back my phone. Although this incident was a big blow to Huang Wengsu, he came to his senses quickly. School has only just started. What's Zia Yaoyu compared to that? The school is so big. I don't believe there aren't girls who have their eyes on him. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Why be hung up on just one? Don't get hung up on one tree. At this moment, Bai Yuntao recalled what Zia Yaoyu had just said. It seemed she hadn't given up on pursuing Mu Ziomo. Most people are speaking up for Mu Ziomo, which is outrageous. He gently patted the edge of Mu Ziomo's bed and said, Ziomo, I have bad news for you. Zia Yaoyu hasn't given up on you. Mu Ziomo, who was listening to music with her headphones on, quickly took them off. Huang Wengsu, who was lying on the bed, said, I'll send you a chat log and you'll know. As she spoke, she forwarded her chat history with Zia Yaoyu to Mu Ziomo. Mu Ziomo was speechless after seeing this. This is just outrageous. When he said she was fat, she not only didn't get angry, but she also gave Huang Wenxu a piece of her mind. This, Mu Omo immediately felt a sense of pressure again. This little girl is really like an unkillable cockroach. Brother Mo, quickly check Zia Yaoyu's moments, Huang Wenxu suddenly shouted, and Mu Omo opened her moments upon hearing the voice. The first post on my WeChat moments was taken at the gym. Running, and the caption on the WeChat moments post read, "Trying to lose weight for my little black dog. Black puppy. What the hell is this little black dog?" Huang Wenxu let out a pig-like squeal. "Ha ha ha ha, little black dog, you're killing me, Brother Mo. Damn, it looks like she's deliberately trying to annoy you." Chapter 23, A woman's heart is like a needle at the bottom of the sea. It can never be fully understood. Let me be angry. Mu Omo didn't take it seriously at all, and had no idea what Zia Yaoyu was up to. Did she think that seeing him mention Mu Haekwon would make her look for him? You're overthinking it. However, this post on WeChat moments is clearly contradictory. Is she saying she's helping him lose weight, or is she criticizing him? I don't know what Zia Yaoyu is thinking. A woman's heart is like a needle at the bottom of the sea. You can never truly understand it. After turning off her WeChat moments, Mu Omo put her headphones back on and continued watching her favorite movie. That evening, Mu Baining explained the military training arrangements for the next day in the class group chat, asking the students to cooperate well with Mu Omo. Of course, all the students replied that they had received it. The next morning, Mu Omo was woken up early by her phone alarm. After turning off the alarm, I checked the time, 6:30. We have to assemble on the playground in 1 hour. Last night, Mu Baining specifically emphasized that everyone must be on the playground by 7:30, then line up in the designated spot and wait for the instructors to arrive. If you are late, you will be punished by the instructors. Generally, the counselor needs to be present on the first day of military training, but she injured her foot and couldn't come. However, Mu Baining has already said that he will ask his roommate, Liu Weiwei, to help manage his class. Without much thought, Mu Omo quickly put on her military training uniform, then took out a pair of sweat-absorbing insoles and put them in her shoes. The first day of military training is nothing more than standing at attention. The soles of the military training shoes are very thin and uncomfortable, so it is necessary to put on soft and sweat-absorbing insoles. After a quick wash, his 3 eldest sons still showed no signs of getting up. So Mu Omo called them up one by one. You can't skip breakfast during military training, otherwise you'll have trouble with low blood sugar. After waking up his 3 eldest sons, the system's voice rang out. Congratulations, host, for triggering a mission. This task, arrive at the faculty and staff dormitory at 6:50 and take Mu Bei, who has fallen to the infirmary. You can accept the mission or refuse the mission. Accept mission. Receive a random lucky bag. The lucky bag may randomly contain skills or items. But if you are late for military training, you will be punished by the instructor. Seeing that another task had been triggered, Mu Omo was speechless. I don't know why Mu Baining is so restless. She should rest properly if she hurts her ankle. Why is she wandering around aimlessly? However, since the mission has already been triggered, let's go ahead. After all, the reward this time includes a lucky bag, and as for the instructor's corporal punishment, it doesn't matter. Mu Omo straightened his clothes, glanced at the drowsy Bai Yuntao and said, "Taozi, I suddenly have something to take care of. If I can't come back, can you help me manage the class?" After saying that, Mu Omo hurriedly ran out. It's almost 6:40 now, and there are only a dozen minutes left until the designated time. It's best to go there first. On the other side, the faculty and staff dormitory. Ning Ning, the counselor needs to accompany you on the first day of freshman military training. There is a meeting on the playground at 7 o'clock sharp. I'll go there first. Take good care of your injury and don't run around. Okay, I understand. Mu Baining, lying in bed, moved her ankle. The pain had lessened considerably after taking ibuprofen. However, the redness and swelling have not subsided yet. Liu Weiwei didn't think much of it. Mu Baining was already a 22-year-old adult and couldn't possibly be unable to take care of herself, so she quickly went out. The room fell silent instantly. Mu Baining looked at her ankle. Her long, straight leg was slightly bent. She gently rubbed the sprained area with her fingers. It didn't hurt much. It should be healed by now, right? A thought suddenly popped into her mind, and she took a new pair of white socks from the bedside table and carefully put them on. Then he slowly sat up and put on his newly bought sneakers. After slowly standing up, my right ankle was slightly sore, but it didn't affect my walking. As long as you walk slowly, there won't be any problems. Oh, it's already healed. Thinking of this, Mu Baining became a little excited. She quickly packed her things and slowly went downstairs. Even if I missed the meeting, it's still nice to be able to introduce my classmates to the instructors. After all the other class advisors were present today, and she didn't want her classmates to be without an advisor to accompany them. Mu Baining leaned against the wall and slowly entered the elevator. She pressed the button for the first floor, and the door opened shortly afterward. Then she slowly moved her feet outside, her steps very light, as she was getting used to the feeling. Just then, Mu-Ziomo's image involuntarily appeared in her mind. It was because of this that Mu Baining, who had just stepped out of the dormitory, suddenly missed a step on the stairs. Unfortunately, it was his right foot that missed the mark. Ah, Tilda! Her body fell to the ground with a thud, and at the same time, the loss of footing caused her ankle to ache again. It hurts even more than last time. Hiss, ah! Mu Baining let out a groan. The excruciating pain was no less than a cramp, and she felt as if all the strength in her body had been drained away. It hurts. She gently rubbed her ankle, then checked her pockets and realized she'd forgotten her phone. Phew, Mu Baining took a deep breath helplessly and gently patted her head. Mu Baining, how can you be so stupid? Just as Mu Baining was wondering what to do, Mu-Ziomo rushed over from not far away. As soon as she turned the corner, she saw Mu Baining sitting on the ground. This little girl, Mu-Ziomo sighed and quickly ran over. At the same time, hearing footsteps not far away, Mu Baining also raised her head and looked at Mu-Ziomo. Well, upon seeing that it was Mu-Ziomo, Mu Baining was slightly taken aback. What was this guy doing here? Professor Mu, are you all right? After Mu-Ziomo came to her side, he quickly squatted down and looked her over. At the same time, a faint fragrance wafted into Mu-Ziomo's nose. He was somewhat familiar with the scent. It was Professor Mu's body odor. Seeing the girl lying on the ground, Mu-Ziomo felt a pang of heartache. Professor Mu is such a worry. Why is she running around when she's injured? Doesn't she know how worried I am about her? Little Mo. Seeing Mu-Ziomo staring intently at her ankle, Mu Baining couldn't help but speak. At the same time, Mu-Ziomo also looked up and stared at Mu Baining, noticing that Mu Baining's makeup looked exceptionally good today. However, he still said in a stern tone, Professor Mu, your foot is injured and has not fully recovered yet. Why are you running around like that? She was wearing dark, slim-fit jeans that accentuated her perfect curves. Mu-Ziomo rolled up her jeans and pulled her socks down a bit. Her sprained ankle was still red and swollen, showing no signs of recovery, so she got down and walked around by herself. This person is really taking their health for granted. Without thinking much, Mu-Ziomo pulled Mu Baining into her arms and prepared to pick her up. Just then Mu Baining blushed and couldn't help but ask, Little Mo, what are you doing? Chapter 24, Professor Mu, who never gives you peace of mind. Upon hearing this, Mu-Ziomo immediately picked her up in a princess carry. What else can I do but take you to the infirmary, Professor Mu? You're such a worry. Upon hearing Mu-Ziomo's words, Mu Baining felt a warm feeling in her heart, but also a little nervous. The last time he hugged her, her mind was a bit blank, and she hadn't thought much about it. This time when she was hugged like that again, she became a little nervous, and even her cheeks flushed. She's being cared for by Mu-Ziomo. Feeling Mu-Ziomo's heartbeat, Mu Baining looked up at his chin. But when she noticed Mu-Ziomo lowering his head, she quickly looked away. Just like before, she still couldn't bring herself to look him in the eye. Mu-Ziomo also noticed this. Generally speaking, girls get shy when they meet a boy they like, but Professor Mu's shyness is a bit too much. It's been so long, and he's still shy now. It seems she really has never been in a relationship. At this moment, Mu Baining, who was in her arms, couldn't help but ask, Ziomo, why did you suddenly come here? Perhaps due to nervousness and shyness, Mu Baining's voice trembled slightly. At the same time, Mu-Ziomo glanced down at him and said, I'm going to the playground, and I just happened to be passing by here. So. She gave a soft, and after 2 seconds realized something was wrong. If she wanted to get to the playground, she didn't need to pass by here. Going through here to get to the playground was obviously a longer route. Mu Baining recalled Mu-Ziomo's expression when he came over. He had run over, and it seemed that his target was very clear, himself. Thinking about this, Mu Baining felt somewhat incredulous. Having this question, Mu Baining wanted to clarify. She said again, Wait a minute, this is clearly not the path that goes through the playground, Mu-Ziomo. Before Mu Baining could finish speaking, Mu-Ziomo interrupted her. Military training is starting soon, and I wanted to buy a bottle of Green Bull energy drink. All the other vending machines were sold out, so I came over to check them out and happened to run into you on the floor. Muziah Omo continued, but speaking of which, Professor Mew, why aren't you resting upstairs? What are you doing down here with nothing to do? Do you know you're still injured? I... Nestled in Muziah Omo's arms, Mew Baining resembled a kitten who had made a mistake. She said with an apologetic expression, I thought everything was fine. I missed a step when I was going down the stairs, and then... Hearing Mew Baining's words, Muziah Omo felt that this girl was really a handful. He's still like a little kid. Muziah Omo sighed. You'll probably be lying in the infirmary for a few days this time. Just rest well this time and don't push yourself. Come on down. After leaving the faculty and staff dormitory area, a lush green expanse comes into view. Of course, it wasn't the flowers, plants, or trees, but the students who were walking to the playground in their military training uniforms. When they saw Muziah Omo holding a beautiful woman in her arms, they all turned their gazes over. At this moment, Mew Baining panicked and quickly buried her head in her arms. She comforted herself, thinking that as long as she wasn't embarrassed, it was others who would be embarrassed. Noticing Mew Baining's expression, Muziah Omo quickened her pace. This didn't bother him at all. In fact, he felt quite proud to be holding a beautiful woman in his arms. Wow, look, you're a young man, and the person you're holding in your arms is our school's professor. I know her. Huh, really? Which department is she a professor in? I don't know, but I really think I've seen her before. All right, stop looking. It's not yours to look at. Go to military training. Hearing the whispers around her, Mew Baining blushed deeply. This is so embarrassing, so incredibly embarrassing. Muziah Omo was wearing a military training uniform. Anyone could tell he was a student about to undergo military training. Won't this mislead the students and cause rumors of a teacher-student relationship? Finally, Mew Baining, who was in Muziah Omo's arms, couldn't help but speak up. Ziah Omo, are you tired? I feel that my feet don't hurt anymore. Why don't you get down and walk around by yourself for a while? Muziah Omo smiled faintly. It doesn't hurt anymore? I don't believe you for a second. I'm not tired. As he spoke, he tightened his grip on her even more. My dad pays a lot of attention to my physical fitness. Professor Mew, don't underestimate me. I can carry you, let alone one of you. I could even carry two of you. Build. Mew Baining looked incredulous, and Muziah Omo continued. I also have six-pack abs. You can touch them if you don't believe me. Mew Baining rolled her eyes. She wouldn't touch that thing. However, Mew Baining, who was in Muziah Omo's arms, could indeed feel that Muziah Omo was in good physical condition. Because from now until now, Muziah Omo has been carrying him for more than 10 minutes. He didn't even break a sweat. His physical condition must be excellent. If only I could touch his abs. Hateful. Why would she think that way? Another 5 or 6 minutes passed. Muziah Omo then led Mew Baining to the school clinic. Once inside, 2 nurses quickly brought over a hospital bed and helped her lie down. Then I entered a consultation room. In the examination room, Dr. Wang took off Mew Baining's shoes and socks, examined her carefully, and looked rather unwell. Professor Mew, what happened to you? Didn't I tell you to rest properly? Did you twist your ankle again? Mew Baining nodded slightly, while Muziah Omo couldn't help but ask. Then, Doctor, is Professor Mew all right? It's nothing serious, but the recovery period will be a bit longer this time. With the addition of pain-relieving and blood-activating medication, the effect will be more significant. Dr. Wang looked up and instructed, Professor Mew, you must not walk again this time. If you do, you will be close to amputation. Upon hearing this, Mew Baining was taken aback. Amputation is imminent. Is it that outrageous? Dr. Wang explained, your ankle joint is currently stagnant with a lot of blood. Excessive blood stasis can prevent blood circulation. If blood cannot circulate, the foot will become necrotic and amputation will be the only option. Upon hearing this, Mew Baining felt a wave of fear wash over her. Muziah Omo, who was standing to the side, said seriously, Professor Mew, you must cooperate with the treatment. Chapter 25, Milk Tea Recipe. I see. Mew Baining glanced at Dr. Wang, then at Muziah Omo, who was waiting there. Military training was about to begin, and there was no point in him being there, so Mew Baining spoke up. Ziah Omo, I'm fine at the hospital now. You don't need to stay with me. The instructor will be here soon. You should go back now. Dr. Wang, who was applying medicine to her foot, also said, Yes, student, you can go to military training. I'll keep an eye on Professor Mew, so don't worry. It's okay then. Muziah Omo nodded, realizing that she really couldn't be of much help here. Before leaving, he added, Professor Mew, you can contact me anytime if you have any questions. I'm going to military training now. After saying that, Mu Ziomo left the infirmary. As Mu Ziomo stepped out of the room, Dr. Wang couldn't help but look up and scrutinize Mu Baining's delicate face. This is your little boyfriend, isn't it? Dr. Wang's sudden remark left Mu Baining somewhat bewildered. Little boyfriend? What little boyfriend? Seeing Mu Baining's astonishment, Dr. Wang smiled and said, your best friend Liu Weiwei has already told me that you are obsessed with Mu Ziomo and even drew his profile on your lesson plan. She even sent me photos of it. Actually, as soon as you two came in, I knew he was your boyfriend. Mu Baining's eyes widened. What was all this about? Liu Weiwei actually secretly photographed his lesson plan book. And what's even more infuriating is that she even sent it to other people. What a dog! She clenched her fists. If Liu Weiwei were next to her right now, she would definitely twist her head off and kick it like a ball. However, faced with Dr. Wang's question, Mu Baining could only smile and shake her head. That's not true, Dr. Wang. Don't listen to Liu Weiwei's nonsense. Upon hearing this, Dr. Wang did not ask any further questions. His relationship with Mu Baining wasn't very good, and besides, this was her private matter, so he couldn't keep asking. A moment later, Dr. Wang wrapped her legs with gauze. Okay, rest here for a bit. You can call me when you need to use the restroom, and I'll have a nurse help you. Mu Baining sighed. Without her phone, even lunch would be a problem. On the other side, Mu Ziomo ran quickly to the playground. However, I was still damn late. The classes were standing ramrod straight, and even the military training instructors from some of the classes had come over. Following Mu Baining's instructions, Mu Ziomo arrived at the northwest corner of the playground. Sure enough, the instructor had already arrived at the scene and was talking to the students in the class. Helpless, Mu Ziomo had no choice but to bite the bullet and go over, shouting, "Report! Report!" Upon hearing this, the military training instructor turned and glanced at Mu Ziomo. His expression was extremely serious. His eyes seemed to conceal a sharp knife. Upon seeing Mu Ziomo, Yang Gang slowly spoke. Mu Ziomo. He had just called the roll, and Mu Ziomo was the only one absent from the class. Mu Ziomo nodded. It's me. Join the team first. He winked at Mu Ziomo, who was startled and quickly moved to the edge of the line. After introducing himself, Yang Gang said, today is the first day of military training. I want to see how stamina you all have. Let's start by standing at attention for 2 hours. After Yang Gang finished speaking, some students in the class started complaining. Oh dear, instructor, isn't 2 hours too long? It's so hot today. Yeah, maybe it should be shorter. 3 hours? Yang Gang suddenly roared, and his roar immediately drowned out all the other voices in the class. The students all shut their mouths, while many others cursed the instructor in their hearts. However, the instructors are the law here, and if they make a fuss, they might be made to stand all day. Seeing that his classmates were behaving themselves, Yang Gang then turned his attention to Mu Ziomo. Of course, Mu Ziomo noticed him too. Since the system warned him that he might be physically punished by the instructors, he endured it. Mu Ziomo stepped forward. Yes. Without the slightest hesitation, he took a step forward. Then Yang Gang walked up to him, circled around Mu Ziomo, and asked, you were late for the first day of military training. What were you doing? When Yang Gang asked her questions, Mu Ziomo didn't bother to explain at all. In the military, being late is being late, and no amount of excuses will change that. So he said, reporting to the instructor, I didn't do anything, I was just late. You can punish me in any way you want. Oh, Yang Gang was a little surprised after hearing Mu Ziomo's words. He thought Mu Ziomo would come up with an excuse to explain, but he didn't expect him to take the initiative to ask for corporal punishment. It must be said that he is quite responsible. Yang Gang said seriously, do 300 push-ups, then run 10 laps around the drill ground, and then come back and stand at attention. Yes. Mu Ziomo didn't waste any time and immediately started doing push-ups, supporting her body with both hands. Meanwhile, several boys in the class sneered at the sight. He felt that Mu Ziomo was showing off. 300 push-ups, won't you be exhausted watching that? Of course, 300 push-ups were a piece of cake for Mu Ziomo. When he was a child, his father often took him running to exercise, and he even went to a martial arts school to learn Sanda, Chinese kickboxing, for 2 years. Doing 300 push-ups is no problem for him at all. Not far away, Zia Yaoyu stared wide-eyed at Mu Ziomo doing push-ups with such ease. She realized why Mu Ziomo had said she wasn't very thin. She meant she didn't have abs. Seeing Mu doing push-ups, she immediately thought of Mu figure. He definitely has a standard six-pack, immense strength, and can last a long time. Such an outstanding guy must have high standards for his future girlfriend. Suddenly, Zia Yaoyu felt that her gym membership was absolutely worth it. A great deal. Mu is definitely a guy who loves fitness. Next time I ask him out, I can just go to the gym. Omega. Just as Mu was doing push-ups, the sound of the task being completed came out. Ding, congratulations, host, for completing the mission. You have received a lucky bag, congratulations. Would you like to open the lucky bag immediately, host? Yes. Ding, congratulations, host, you have obtained the item. Super milk tea recipe. This. Mu was a little confused. Milk tea recipe? What use would he have for a milk tea recipe? Could it be that you're going to open a milk tea shop? Oh yeah. The side quest is about starting a business, and I'm wondering if opening a bubble tea shop would be a good idea. Chapter 26 is over, and that dog Vivi is going to gossip again. After having this idea, Mu did not make a decision quickly. After all, the milk tea market is very competitive right now. There are just too many milk tea brands like Mixu Ice Cream, Dian, Cha Bai Dao, and Coco. At Guangzhou University of Science and Technology, there are at least 10 milk tea shops, not to mention the commercial street outside the school. It's safe to say that nowadays, you can find a milk tea shop every 200 meters in any commercial area, especially near universities. Therefore, you must think carefully before opening a milk tea shop. At 11:30 a.m., after a morning of military training, most of the students were exhausted, especially Bai Yuntao, who collapsed to the ground during military training due to low blood sugar. The instructor carried him to the infirmary. Of course, this is also related to his frequent nightly rocking of the bed and dating with the five-fingered girl. That guy is really weak. Mu Omo, Huang Wengsu, and Du Yang went to the cafeteria together. They packed a meal and left, asking Mu Omo to deliver a meal to Bai Yuntao. Mu Omo initially refused, but considering that Mu Baining was still in the infirmary and she didn't know if anyone would bring her food, she decided to bring it to him and check on Mu Baining at the same time. After packing 2 meals, he headed towards the infirmary. A dozen minutes later, he entered the infirmary carrying the 2 meals. After explaining his purpose, the nurse led him into a ward. As soon as he entered, he saw Bai Yuntao with his nose wrapped in gauze. When a person is standing upright, if they faint, their body will involuntarily lean forward. And this guy's nose landed right on the ground, rubbing his nose and chin raw. He was receiving an IV drip, probably glucose, and was scrolling through Douyin on his phone with his right hand. When he saw Mu Omo come in, Bai Yuntao was overjoyed. Hey, Brother Mo, you brought me food. He hadn't eaten breakfast, which was directly related to his fainting due to low blood sugar. By then, his stomach was already growling with hunger. Old Jen, I've brought you your food. Mu Omo rolled his eyes, and Bai Yuntao quickly made way for him. 2 portions, Brother Mo is so generous. Thank you, you're such a good person. As he spoke, he tried to grab it. No, please don't give me a friend card. And what's this double card? This is for myself. Bai Yuntao probably didn't know that Mu Baining was here, so Mu Omo didn't mention Mu Baining's situation. Thanks, Brother Mo. As he spoke, he opened his lunchbox and started shoveling rice into his mouth with his chopsticks. Seeing this, Mu Omo rolled her eyes. Couldn't this guy eat more politely? Mu Omo looked at Bai Yuntao, who was eating ungracefully, and asked, All right, eat slower. Nobody's going to take it from you. How are you feeling now? It's nothing. He shook his head with a smile. It's just because I didn't eat breakfast this morning. The instructor gave me a day off today and told me to resume normal military training tomorrow. Okay, he nodded after learning that everything was all right. Remember to eat breakfast tomorrow morning. I've been tired all morning, so I'll head back now and take a nap at noon. Okay, I'll transfer the money for the meal to your phone. No need, it's just a few dollars. They were all roommates. It wasn't a matter of a few dollars. After leaving Bai Yuntao's ward, Mu Omo headed straight for Mu Baining's room. He arrived at the glass door and knocked. At the same time, Mu Baining's "Please come in" came from inside. When Mu Baining opened the door and saw that it was Mu Omo who had come in, her expression immediately turned sour. She frowned and asked, "Why are you here?" Mu Omo was slightly taken aback. Why was he here? It seemed that Mu Baining was not too willing to see him. Is it because Mu Baining dislikes her? Mu Omo's face darkened. What, you can't come without me? No. He didn't think before he spoke. He had just used Dr. Wang's phone to contact Liu Weiwei, asking her to bring him some food and her phone as well. He thought it was Liu Weiwei who had come, but when he realized it wasn't, he said this to Mu Omo. How embarrassing. That's good. Mu Omo walked into the room and put the food she bought from the cafeteria on the table. This is the food I bought for you from the cafeteria. I didn't know if you had eaten, so I brought it to you. He then looked at Mu Baining's feet and found that they were wrapped in gauze. How's your foot feeling? Mu Baining's face flushed slightly. She never expected that Mu Omo would actually buy her food. She nodded slightly. I took the medicine this morning and Dr. Wang bandaged me up, so I'm fine now. I just need to rest more. That's fine then. At this moment, Mu Baining remembered that Mu Omo had brought her here this morning, which must have caused him to miss military training. The military training officers at Magic University were all very strict, and she wondered if he had been punished. You brought me here this morning. Did the instructor give you a hard time after you were late? No, Mu Omo shook her head, not intending to mention that she had done 300 push-ups and run 10 laps. He still held a certain position in Mu Baining's life, and he didn't want Mu Baining to worry. The instructor was very kind and didn't make things difficult for me. Professor Mu, you don't need to worry about me. Just focus on recovering. Mu Baining couldn't help but glance at Mu Omo again, her eyes full of tenderness. She continued, Then you should also take care to rest. You have military training this afternoon. Go back to the dormitory and take a nap so you'll have the energy for the training. Good. Hearing Mu Baining's words, he did feel a bit weak. Even though he exercises regularly, after doing 300 push-ups and running 10 laps, his body was still a bit exhausted. He planned to eat something simple and then go back for a light nap. Just as Mu Omo was about to slip away, the door was suddenly opened. Liu Weiwei said excitedly, Gu Ningning, mommy's brought you food. Mu Omo was stunned, while Mu Baining was also speechless. Why did this guy come at this time? Mainly, he's like an idiot. After Liu Weiwei regained her senses, she found that Mu Omo and Mu Baining were both staring at her, and she was immediately at a loss. Damn, there's someone else here. Hey, isn't he Mu Baining's boyfriend? I think I saw him this morning. Isn't he a student in Mu Baining's class? Ah, so handsome, Omega. Mu Omo glanced at Liu Weiwei, then at Mu Baining and said, Professor Mu, I'll head back now. You two can continue your conversation. After saying that, Mu Omo quickly slipped out. Liu Weiwei watched Mu Omo leave the ward, then approached Mu Baining. Ningning, this must be Mu Omo, right? He's so handsome. No wonder you got his hands on him. Shut up. Mu Baining was speechless. Oh no, that dog Weiwei was going to gossip again. Chapter 27. Why didn't you tell me you were punished by the drill instructor for being late? Oh, I wasn't gossiping about you guys. We were just chatting. Seeing Mu Baining's disdainful expression, Liu Weiwei didn't give up this opportunity to gossip. After all, she had long wanted Mu Baining to find a partner. What are you talking about? Mu Baining gave her a cold look. This bastard actually told Dr. Wang about her and Mu Omo's affair. She hadn't even settled the score for that yet. Liu Weiwei smiled slightly and said, Your little boyfriend was late this morning. You're in the infirmary now. Did he bring you here? Mu Baining didn't say anything. That dog Weiwei, she guessed so accurately. Liu Weiwei continued, Your boyfriend was late and was even punished by the instructor. He was late because of you, so you have to make it up to him. What? Upon hearing Liu Weiwei's words, Mu Baining suddenly raised her head and stared into Liu Weiwei's large, bright eyes. This is different from what Mu Omo just said. Mu Omo said that the instructor did not physically punish him. Seeing that Mu Baining had a reaction, Liu Weiwei rolled her eyes. You ignore me when I talk about other things, but you react when I mention corporal punishment of Mu Omo. It seems you've really fallen for him. Liu Weiwei was secretly delighted. Mu Ningning had finally admitted that she and Mu Omo had a relationship. She continued, Ningning, our school does allow teacher-student relationships, so don't worry, I'll keep it a secret for you. But even if you have Mu Omo now, don't forget your best friend, okay? Mu Baining frowned. We're not officially dating yet, Weiwei, don't talk nonsense. Besides, he's the one who pursued me. He, Liu Weiwei chuckled upon hearing this. If you haven't officially started dating yet, then it's going to be soon. Besides, such a handsome guy is pursuing you, what are you still hesitating for? Just agree already. If you don't agree, I'll go after her. For some reason, Mu Baining felt a pang of sadness when he heard that Liu Weiwei wanted to pursue him. This is terrible. I've really fallen for Mu Omo. Noticing the change in Mu Baining's expression, Liu Weiwei chuckled. All right, I was just kidding. My best friend's boyfriend, why would I steal him? Stop gossiping. Mu Baining rolled her eyes at him disdainfully, intending to find out about Mu Ziomo's situation that morning, so she asked, Tell me quickly, how did the instructor punish Mu Ziomo? Was it serious? Liu Weiwei was somewhat surprised to see Mu Baining looking concerned, because she wasn't like this before. She had never cared about anyone so much. I don't know what kind of spell Mu Ziomo cast on Ningning to make her like this. She thought about it carefully and said, It doesn't seem too serious. I was standing not far away at the time, and I think I heard 300 push-ups and running 10 laps around the track. Yes, that's it. This. Mu Baining's heart sank, and she immediately became somewhat angry. This brat actually lied to me. The instructor made him do 300 push-ups and run 10 laps around the track. 1 lap around the track at Kyoto University is 500 meters, so 10 laps would be 5,000 meters. Today the temperature is a full 35 degrees Celsius, which is. Immediately, Mu Baining felt that she had dragged Mu Ziomo down with her. Liu Weiwei added, But Ningning, Mu Ziomo's physical fitness is really good. He did 300 push-ups in one go and ran 10 laps around the track without resting for a moment. Everyone on the track was stunned. He must have practiced. Upon hearing this, Mu Baining was somewhat skeptical. Really? Really? Of course it's true. Liu Weiwei nodded emphatically. Several girls in my class have noticed him, and some have even wanted to ask for his WeChat. For some reason, after hearing Liu Weiwei's words, Mu Baining felt that she was using reverse psychology. Weiwei, did you bring my phone? I'd like to use it. Okay. Liu Weiwei took Mu Baining's phone out of her pocket and handed it to her. After turning on her phone, Mu Baining opened Mu Ziomo's chat window and sent him a message. Ziomo, why did you lie to me? On the other side, after finishing her meal in the cafeteria, Mu Ziomo quickly returned to her dormitory. At this moment, Huang Wenxu and Du Yang were already fast asleep in bed, both of them extremely weak. Well, I was a little weak too. After washing his face, Mu Ziomo went to bed and took out his phone to set an alarm, but found that Mu Baining had sent him a message. Why did you lie to her? Mu Ziomo was stunned when she saw the message. What did I lie to her about? I didn't lie to her about anything. After replying with 3 question marks, he tossed his phone onto his pillow. He was so tired that he fell asleep almost immediately after closing his eyes. Lying in bed, Mu Baining saw 3 question marks and was furious. How could she still pretend at a time like this? Why didn't you tell me you were punished by the drill instructor for being late? She pressed the send button hard, thinking that Mu Ziomo would reply to her message, but he seemed to have just disappeared. Mu Baining waited for a long time, checking her phone every 10 seconds or so, but Mu Ziomo completely ignored her. Damn it, I can forgive them for lying to me, but they don't even reply to my messages. The military training continued as usual in the afternoon. Of course, Mu Ziomo was not late again in the afternoon. Because he had performed well in the morning, Yang Gang did not cause him any more trouble. They even made him the team leader. After standing at attention for 2 hours, Yang Gang led his classmates in marching. Of course, this was very easy for Mu Ziomo, as his father had taught him this when he was a child. The military training lasted until 6 p.m., and only after it ended did the students walk listlessly toward the cafeteria. Of course, there was also night training, but it wasn't actual training. It seemed like some kind of event was going to be held. The instructors only gave them 1 hour to eat, and after that, they had to go back here to line up again. Mu Ziomo, Du Yang, and Huang Wenxu were walking together when Huang Wenxu suddenly put his arm around Mu Ziomo's neck. Ouch, damn it. Brother Mo, I'm cramping up, help me. Huang Wenxu was already quite fleshy, and his clothes were completely soaked with sweat, giving him a strong body odor. With him suddenly grabbing her arm, Mu Ziomo almost fell over. Get the hell out of here, you stink like hell. Mu Ziomo looked disgusted. The sweat from Huang Wenxu's elbows had all smeared onto his neck, and he hadn't seen Huang Wenxu take a shower in the past few days. Just thinking about it made him feel nauseous. They're all men, what's with the arrogance? Get out of my way. Brother Mo, help me up for a bit, I'll treat you to dinner later. Ouch, don't let go, my leg is cramping. Dream. Splat. Huang Wenxu fell flat on his face. Chapter 28, I never expected it was for his love. In the infirmary, Mu Baining threw her phone onto the bed. Mu Ziomo, you haven't replied to my messages all afternoon. What have you been up to? Indeed, Mu Baining spent the entire afternoon waiting for Mu Ziomo's message, and Mu Ziomo did not disappoint her. not replying all afternoon. This infuriated Mu Baining. Just as Mu Baining was getting angry, the door to her hospital room suddenly opened, and there it was, her best friend Liu Weiwei. Seeing that Mu Baining's expression wasn't very good, Liu Weiwei chuckled. "Are you still waiting for news from your boyfriend? I brought you some food, hurry up and eat." "He's not my boyfriend yet," Mu Baining said with a look of disdain, then took the food from Liu Weiwei's hand. At the same time, Liu Weiwei said, "The military training instructors will be organizing a social event tonight. The playground will definitely be lively. The school also said that counselors are allowed to participate. Do you want to go together?" Upon hearing this, Mu Baining was about to agree, but then she looked at her feet and said, "I'd like to go, but with my feet like this, I can't go." "It's all right, I have a way." Liu Weiwei chuckled, got up and left the room. A short while later, she pushed a wheelchair back in. Seeing this, Mu Baining's expression turned somewhat unpleasant. Are we going to have to go in a wheelchair? Isn't that a bit outrageous?" 7 o'clock. On the Magic Science and Technology University's playground, spotlights shone brightly, illuminating the entire playground. The students have already lined up in the designated area, according to the military training formation. In Robotics Class 1, Yang Gang looked at his classmates and shouted, "All right, everyone, attention. At ease. Stand at attention. First row, count off. 1, 2, 3, I'm the sixth one." Yang Gang squinted and said, "Liu Kaiyan, step forward and do 200 push-ups." Buff. After confirming that there were no problems with the number of people, Yang Gang looked around at the students in front of him and nodded with satisfaction when he saw their straight posture. "Everyone performed well during the day, so I've decided that we won't train tonight." "Good. Great. Woohoo Tilda. Instructor, I love you." All right, shut up." Yang Gang couldn't help but chuckle, glancing at Liu Kaiyan, who was slacking off. "Liu Kaiyan, keep doing your push-ups. If you don't, I'll have the whole class do them with you." After saying that, he looked up again. "Then, tonight I plan to hold a small social event. Since our class is all boys, I plan to take you to the journalism major to socialize with the students from Journalism Class 1. Holy crap, the instructor is awesome. Woohoo, instructor, I love you. Give me a kiss." Hearing this, the boys in the class were extremely excited. Since most of the journalism students are girls, the instructors really understand them. Seeing his classmates' excited expression, Yang Gang couldn't help but smile. He continued, "Who was it that wanted to kiss me just now? Step forward and do 100 push-ups. If you don't step up, we'll have extra training tonight." Upon hearing this, the boys in the class quickly looked for a target, and soon Huang Wengsu was identified by his classmates. Huang Wengsu was speechless. These perverts were truly something else. A moment later, Liu Kaiyan and Huang Wengsu finished their push-ups and returned to the team. Yang Gang's expression turned serious. "Attention everyone, right turn, target, Class 1, School of Journalism, run, march." Woohoo Tilda. The students marched in neat rows toward the Journalism Class 1. Actually, each class has a social event tonight, which is organized by the school. However, the military training instructors can choose which classes to have the social event with. As for why Yang Gang chose Journalism Class 1, well, it's because of the female instructor in Journalism Class 1. Yang Gang is only 26 years old this year and is not married yet. She is the only girl among the people who came to the Magic Science University for military training this year. It is rare to see girls in the army, so this is an opportunity for him. Soon, led by Yang Gang, the students from Robotics Class 1 arrived in front of the Journalism Class 1 line. The students in the class were also drawn to the female instructor, and suddenly they understood why Yang Gang had brought them here. Originally, it was thought that Yang Gang wanted them to find love, but it turns out that he did it for his own love. Upon seeing female instructor Liu Hong, Yang Gang walked straight over and handed her a bottle of water. Tilda, the students in the class all made huh sounds when they saw this. At the same time, Yang Gang blushed and looked at his favorite female instructor. "Captain Hong, you've worked hard in military training today." Liu Hong knew Yang Gang's purpose, and she took the water, saying, "It's no trouble at all." "Wow, I bumped into something. Our instructor and she are a match made in heaven. Yes, I envy the love stories that happen during military service." Students in both Robotics Class 1 and Journalism Class 1 were subjected to a mouthful of dog food, a Chinese slang term for witnessing public displays of affection. Soon, under Yang Gang's command, the students from Robotics Class 1 and Journalism Class 1 formed a large circle. Musaya Omo. Huang Wenxu and Du Yang sat together, and across from them were girls from the journalism department. It has to be said that the girls in the journalism department are really good-looking. Each one of them is particularly beautiful. The girls who can get into Magic University are also good at studying, and they can be said to be very innocent. At this age, when love is just beginning to blossom, it shouldn't be a problem to win someone over as a girlfriend. On the other side, Liu Weiwei pushed Mu Baining and slowly walked towards the playground. Sitting in her wheelchair, Mu Baining looked very uncomfortable. She looked up at Liu Weiwei and said, "Weiwei, maybe I shouldn't go. What will my classmates think if they see us?" "It's not a bad thing," Liu Weiwei said with a faint smile. "Your classmates might be more obedient after they find out, and they might even worry about you." Mu Baining was silent for a moment. The teacher-student relationship is indeed very important in university, and she also needs to communicate with her classmates. So she didn't say anything more. Soon, Liu Weiwei pushed Mu Baining to the school playground. At this moment, all the freshmen undergoing military training formed a large circle. In the center of the circle, some were singing, some were dancing, and some were even having a martial arts competition. Some boys were even secretly sitting next to the girls they liked, hoping to flirt with them. After a tiring day of military training, the students were very satisfied with this way of relaxing. Seeing this, Liu Weiwei frowned and said, "Hey, here's the problem. I don't know where your class went. Ask the instructor. You should have his contact information, right?" "Yes, there is a group." Liu Weiwei took out her phone, and soon she got the location of Computer Class 1 from Yang Gang. "In the School of Journalism, let's go." After saying that, she pushed Mu Baining over. A moment later, the students in Robotics Class 1 noticed Liu Weiwei and Mu Baining. There's no way around it. They're both too beautiful, especially Mu Baining sitting in a wheelchair. She really attracts attention. "Holy crap, isn't that Professor Mu?" "Holy crap, it really is." "What happened to her foot?" "Professor Mu, were you harassed by some thugs? Tell me who they are and I'll kill them." Chapter 29, Fighting and the Instructor. After Mu Baining arrived, many people came up to her to ask about her foot and showed concern for her. Mu Baining was quite pleased with her classmates' concern. She had to admit that the students in Robotics Class 1 were indeed all very good, although some classmates kept staring at her chest. "But what can I do? I'm just so beautiful and I have such big breasts." That's right, Mu Baining started to become narcissistic. In the past 2 days, many students have seen the post on the school forum about Mu Xiaomo's heroic rescue of Mu Baining. However, they had never seen Mu Baining wear a floral dress before, so they didn't recognize her at all. The post wasn't very popular and was quickly scrolled down. At this moment, Mu Baining was searching for Mu Xiaomo. Liu Weiwei, who had been Mu Baining's best friend for many years, had already seen through her thoughts. She pushed Mu Baining around the classroom and soon came up behind Mu Xiaomo. "HMPH, cough cough." Liu Weiwei coughed, and Mu Xiaomo turned her head away upon hearing this. At the same time, Huang Wenxu and Du Yang on the left and right sides also turned their heads. Mu Xiaomo had just noticed Mu Baining coming over, but he pretended not to see her. When I saw Mu Baining's expression, I could tell she was angry. After all, he hadn't replied to Mu Baining's messages all afternoon. Actually, when replying to a girl's messages, there's no need to reply immediately. You can keep her hanging on and affect her mood. If you don't reply to her messages all day, the girl will feel confused or even angry. This is one of the ways to evoke emotions. When he turned his head, Mu Baining was looking at him with disdain, which confirmed Mu Xiaomo's earlier thoughts. She was about to ask Mu Xiaomo why he wasn't replying to her messages, but with so many classmates around, Mu Baining was too embarrassed to speak. "Hello, Professor Mu Tilda." In front of so many people, Mu Xiaomo didn't say much. After all, his relationship with Mu Baining is somewhat special now, falling between lovers and teacher and student. If we chat so enthusiastically now, our classmates will definitely gossip. She gave a soft intending to torture Mu Xiaomo after the event was over. "Weiwei, let's go somewhere else." "Oh." Soon, Liu Weiwei pushed Mu Baining away from there and brought her to Yang Gang's side. She planned to explain why Mu Xiaomo was late today, as she was also afraid that he would target Mu Xiaomo. Liu Hong, who was in the center of the circle, spoke up. "Everyone, if you have any talents, don't hold back, show them off. Does anyone want to start by performing a show for everyone?" Upon hearing this, the students all hesitated. Taking the initiative in such situations is extremely beneficial. First, it made a good impression on the instructors. Second, it helped them stand out and gain priority in choosing a spouse. Singing a song or performing a martial arts routine can stir the hearts of the audience. What if you happen to catch the eye of some pretty girl or handsome guy? Then love will come your way. Huang Wengsu, standing next to Mu Ziomo, couldn't help but say, "Brother Mo, don't you know how to play guitar and sing? Go up and sing a song. Professor Mu is right here, you might even get extra points." Mu Ziomo was speechless. What he said wasn't unreasonable, but he didn't want to sing right now, mainly because he didn't know what to sing. Just then, the system's voice came through. "Ding, congratulations to the host for triggering a choice between two options. Option 1, go on stage and sing a song of your choice. Reward 1,000 cash. Option 2, you will have a sparring match with instructor Yang Gang later. Reward, physical medicine potion X1. What is that?" Mu Ziomo was a little confused after hearing the system's voice. To fight the instructor, isn't that just asking for death? Yang Gang is 180 cm tall, which is about the same height as him, but he has served in the army for several years. I am just an ordinary college student. How can I be his opponent? Mu Ziomo thought for a moment and realized that he had studied Sanda, Chinese kickboxing, for 2 years, so he might actually be able to win. Secondly, in a martial arts contest, Yang Gang probably wouldn't use his full strength. Mainly, the rewards for option 2 are much better than those for option 1. Body-infused potion, that sounds extraordinary. Mu Ziomo decisively chose option 2. I choose option 2. Ding, host has made a successful selection. Please wait for the opportunity to PK with instructor Yang Gang. The system's voice disappeared, and at the same time, a very beautiful female student from journalism class 1 raised her hand. "Instructor, I'd like to dance." As soon as she finished speaking, all the students present turned their attention to the girl who had spoken. Han Samil had already stood up. She was tall, probably over 170 cm, with 2 braids hanging down her shoulders. Even in the night, her beauty was undeniable. The main thing is that her features are so perfect, just like those of an internet celebrity. She's incredibly beautiful, and when she smiles, she has 2 shallow dimples. She looks exactly like your first love from your school days. After taking off her military training jacket, she was wearing a white low-cut top underneath, her breasts slightly bulging, making her look particularly sexy. The boys in robotics class 1 couldn't help but swallow hard. That physique, that looks absolutely amazing. Holy crap! Huang Wengsu, who was next to Mu Ziomo, said a phrase from the national essence, and then drool dripped from his mouth. Mu Ziomo looked disgusted and moved away. This guy is just outrageous. Yesterday I was chatting with Zia Yaoyu, but today when I saw the dancing girls, my eyes lit up. This guy is a womanizer. Liu Hong nodded with satisfaction and asked, "Han Samio, please introduce yourself first, and then tell everyone what kind of dance you would like to perform." A slight smile played on her lips, her face radiating confidence. After bowing to her classmates, she spoke softly. "Hello everyone, my name is Han Samio, and I come from Jiangbei. Because I have been learning ballet since I was a child, I would like to perform a ballet for you. But since there's no skirt, please just enjoy the performance. If I don't dance well, please forgive me." "Good. Awesome. My little sister is so pretty, I love you." Splash, splash, splash. The boys in computer science class 1 applauded. "Such a pretty girl. She could be the most beautiful girl in the department, right?" After the surroundings quieted down, Han Samio connected her phone to the speaker that Yang Gang had brought and played the ballet accompaniment, the Nutcracker. Light music emanated from the speakers, and as the melody played, Han Samil slowly rose onto her tiptoes. She stretched out her arms, closed her eyes, and seemed to be wearing dancing shoes and a gown, dancing gracefully in the center of the stage. The flexible limbs stretch out evenly, as light and soft as gauze, with one leg standing upright, forming a beautifully curved dance posture. "Wow, Tilda!" Upon seeing this, Huang Wengsu couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. He suddenly grabbed Mu Ziomo's arm with his right hand and stared intently at Han Samio, asking, "Brother Mo, do you believe in love at first sight?" Chapter 30, Mu Ziomo vs Yang Gang. What the heck? Mu Ziomo was speechless. Is this guy sure it's love at first sight or just lust? He glanced at Huang Wengsu's dazed look and sighed. This guy would fall for a beautiful woman sooner or later. "I believe you. Isn't that how you treat Professor Mu and Zia Yaoyu? Since you like them, go ask for their WeChat after today's social event." Xing, Huang Wengsu nodded. "I will definitely win over Han Samio." Upon hearing this, Du Yang couldn't help but say, "You seem to have said before that you were determined to win over Zia Yaoyu." Huang Wenxu's face darkened. Can you please stop undermining me? A few minutes later, as the accompaniment ended, Han Samil also stopped dancing. She bowed to her classmates, and immediately another round of applause erupted from the audience. Good. That was a fantastic jump, so beautiful. Can I dance one more time? I love it. Miss, can I add you on WeChat? It was too noisy around her, and Han Samil couldn't hear what her classmates were saying. After things quieted down a bit, she said, Thank you, everyone. I will also be attending the welcome party after military training. I hope all of you can come and enjoy it. Thank you. She bowed again before returning to her original position. It must be said that Han Samil danced really well. At least the students in Computer Science Class 1 were all thoroughly entertained. Not only is she beautiful, but she also dances exceptionally well. And most importantly, she has a wonderful voice. Who wouldn't love a girl like that? After Han Samil took the lead, the other students all showcased their talents. Although there were good and bad moments, and some people even sang until their voices were hoarse, it didn't matter. After all, it's just for entertainment and relaxation. An hour later, seeing that no more students were going to perform, Yang Gang and Liu Hong walked to the center of the circle and chatted with the students. At this point, a student asked, Instructor Yang, what kind of soldier were you in the army and how many years did you serve? Upon hearing this, Yang Gang smiled slightly and replied, I am 26 years old this year. I joined the army at the age of 18 and passed the military academy entrance exam at the age of 20. All in all, I have been a soldier for 8 years. Damn, that's awesome. Coach Yang, was training tiring when you were in the army? Before Yang Gang could answer, a girl asked, I heard that soldiers all have abs. Instructor Yang, do you have any? Haha. Yang Gang didn't find his classmates annoying at all. On the contrary, he was particularly happy to answer these questions, just like when he first joined the army and pestered his squad leader with questions. The first few months in the army are quite tiring, but it's not tiring after you get used to it. As for whether I have abs, of course I do. Wow, it's true that girls like abs. After hearing Yang Gang's words, one of the girls said, Then, Instructor Yang, can we see them? Yang Gang felt it wasn't appropriate to take off his clothes in public, so he slightly lifted his shirt to reveal his standard six-pack abs. So handsome. The instructor is so masculine. I love it. I really want to touch it. The girls praised him, and just then a boy said, Instructor Yang, you've been a soldier for 8 years, so you must be very skilled. Could you show us a few moves? Yes, show us your skills. Instructor, show us your skills. I want to see. Show me your skills. Yang Gang's gaze suddenly turned serious as he stared at the boy who had just spoken. Sure, do you want to be my opponent? Oh, this. Indeed, the boy immediately cowered after hearing Yang Gang's words. He's not stupid. If he were to be Yang Gang's opponent, he would definitely be beaten without any chance to fight back. Just then, Mu Xiaomo suddenly stood up. Instructor Yang, I'll do it. Upon hearing Mu Xiaomo's voice, everyone present turned their attention to him. The girls in the new media class were immediately impressed. They hadn't expected that there would be such handsome young men in the robotics class. Hey girl, look, he's so handsome. Sigh, yes, but why did he choose to be Instructor Yang's opponent? Have no idea. The girls started whispering among themselves. Yang Gang looked at Mu Xiaomo curiously and exclaimed, Oh, isn't this the kid who was late this morning? He frowned, having witnessed Mu Xiaomo's performance that morning. Being able to do 300 push-ups in one go, and then run 5 kilometers without stopping is quite impressive. Judging from Mu Xiaomo's physique, he could tell that he had trained. Yang Gang grinned crookedly. All right, I was just worried about not having any opponents. How about the two of us have a spar? Mu Xiaomo took off her coat, revealing her muscular arms and also stretched her neck. Then they walked in the direction of Yang Gang. Seeing this, Huang Wenxu, though unsure of what Mu Xiaomo was up to, couldn't help but say, Go for it, brother Mo. What is Mu Xiaomo doing? Mu Baining kept a close eye on Mu Xiaomo's movements. She didn't understand why Mu Xiaomo suddenly wanted to spar with Instructor Yang. Do you feel itchy because your skin is too thick? The other party served in the army for 8 years. What can he possibly use to fight back? Mu Baining looked worried, and at the same time, Liu Weiwei behind her spoke up. Wow, Ningning, look how handsome your boyfriend Mu Xiaomo is. Look at his strong, muscular arms. Look at his face and look into his eyes. So handsome. Mu Baining rolled her eyes. This dog Weiwei, how come her focus is so different from hers? At this moment, Mu Xiaomo had already arrived not far from Instructor Yang. Yang Gang stretched his wrists and neck. his expression growing increasingly serious. After a moment, he spoke up. "Ziomo, this is just a simple sparring match. Whoever is knocked down first loses." "No problem," Mu Ziomo nodded. Just then, Yang Gang suddenly clenched his fist, shouted loudly, and rushed towards Mu Ziomo at lightning speed. His speed was extremely fast, and his explosive power was so great that Mu Ziomo didn't even have time to react. A huge fist slammed into his abdomen, and Mu Ziomo could even see the veins on his arm. Holy crap! Mu Ziomo didn't expect Yang Gang to be so unethical, launching a sneak attack before even starting. Of course, he's fast too. Mu Ziomo quickly stepped back several steps, using his arm to block Yang Gang's fists. Each time, Yang Gang's fist struck his arm. This shocked him greatly. He claimed to have won a martial arts championship in the military, and that there were very few opponents in the army who could beat him. But how did Mu Ziomo manage to block his attacks? Just as Yang Gang was meditating, Mu Ziomo suddenly stretched out her fist, intending to attack Yang Gang's head. Upon seeing this, Yang Gang instinctively leaned back. But then Mu Ziomo suddenly changed her attack. He leaped into the air and delivered a Leo kick, striking Yang Gang squarely in the chest. Yang Gang staggered back several steps and almost fell. Chapter 31. The instructor actually lost to a freshman. Holy crap! The students around were stunned by what they saw. How did Mu Ziomo manage to move so fast? Even Yang Gang, who had served in the army for 8 years, was caught off guard. He was really fast just now. All the students' eyes were on his upper body. They didn't know how he suddenly flew up. That jumping ability is simply incredible. Seeing this, the students finally understood why Mu Ziomo had suddenly stepped forward to spar with Yang Gang. He used to train. If he hadn't, he definitely wouldn't have this skill. "Wow, Mo is awesome." Huang Wengsu couldn't help but ask, putting his arm around Du Yang's neck. "Old Yang, who do you think will win, Mo Ji or Coach Yang?" Du Yang glanced at Mu Ziomo, then at Yang Gang. "It's hard to say, but I support Ziomo." "Me too." Huang Wengsu stopped talking nonsense and kept his eyes fixed on Mu Ziomo and Yang Gang. Just now, Yang Gang was kicked by Mu Ziomo, which made his chest feel heavy. It seems this kid really has some skills. His first attack was just to test Mu Ziomo's strength. Since he was so strong, he didn't need to hold back. Without saying a word, Yang Gang took off his t-shirt. His upper body was bare, his skin was dark, and his muscles were well developed, like knots tied with rope. It could be said that Yang Gang's muscles were in no way inferior to some bodybuilding enthusiasts. Seeing this, Mu Ziomo took off her vest without hesitation. The two had similar muscle mass, but Mu Ziomo was much fairer skinned than Yang Gang. Seeing Mu Ziomo's muscular upper body from a distance, Mu Baining couldn't help but swallow hard. She never expected Mu Ziomo to have such a great figure. Around them, they noticed that some students were sparring with the instructors, and many people gathered around. Even a few instructors came over to join in the fun. Meanwhile, other instructors joked, "Yang Gang, don't tell me you can't even beat a student." "That's right. If you can't even beat a student, how can you protect your Liu Hong?" Yeah, don't embarrass our battalion." Hearing the voices of the instructors around him, Yang Gang clenched his fists. The next second, Yang Gang took a step and rushed to Mu Ziomo's left. Then, he suddenly stretched out his right leg and attacked Mu Ziomo. That's a whip kick. Mu Ziomo's pupils contracted slightly. He could tell that Yang Gang had used all his strength this time. Even the air was trembling. The main thing is that his speed is indeed not slow. If it were an ordinary person, they might not even be able to react and wouldn't even know how they died. But Mu Ziomo is different. Because he had studied Sanda, Chinese kickboxing, in his eyes, Yang Gang's speed was barely passable. Holy crap, why didn't Ziomo dodge? I don't know, I have a feeling he's going to die. Mu Baining was extremely anxious upon seeing this. Had Mu Ziomo been scared out of her wits? Why wasn't she dodging? Amidst the surrounding chatter, just as the whip kick was about to touch him, Mu Ziomo leaned back slightly, and Yang Gang's foot grazed past the tip of his nose. Holy crap! Some people were stunned by what they saw. He actually dodged instructor Yang's whip kick with such composure. It must be fake. Although the students thought this way, they knew it wasn't fake. Yang Gang was not surprised that Mu Ziomo had dodged it so easily. Mu Ziomo was much more capable than he had imagined. After missing his foot, Yang Gang immediately followed up with a punch. Mu Ziomo quickly bent down to dodge, avoiding the punch. Then another punch came straight at his chest. Out of instinct, Mu Ziomo quickly put her arms in front of her chest. Bang! With a muffled thud, Mu Xiaomo immediately felt a sharp pain in her arm from Yang Gang's punch, while Yang Gang gritted his teeth. Damn, is this kid's bone made of steel? How come it's so hard? Before he could think any further, Yang Gang realized that Mu Xiaomo was holding his arm tightly. Immediately, he realized something was wrong. He looked up sharply and saw that Mu Xiaomo's lips were slightly upturned. Mu Xiaomo gripped his arm tightly, then suddenly bent down, turned around, and threw Yang Gang over her shoulder. But Yang Gang steadied himself in mid-air, and after his feet landed, he grabbed Mu Xiaomo and hoisted him up without any hesitation. Just when everyone thought Mu Xiaomo was about to be knocked to the ground by Yang Gang, something unexpected happened. Mu Xiaomo turned around in mid-air in an extremely bizarre manner, and in the blink of an eye, she was riding on Yang Gang's shoulders, tightly clamping her legs around his neck. How did he just do that? The students were extremely surprised, because Mu Xiaomo was incredibly agile. Yang Gang lifted it up face up, and it was even able to flip over on his shoulders. One student offered a rational analysis. If he turned around in mid-air, his arm should have rotated 360 degrees, which means he dislocated his shoulder. Dislocated? The student was stunned. Yang Gang's expression was not good. Indeed, he thought he had just heard a cracking sound. This kid can dislocate his shoulder. This was not the time for him to have wild thoughts, because he was already struggling to breathe with Mu Xiaomo's legs clamping him between them. This was when Yang Gang was at his weakest. Mu Xiaomo did not hesitate at all. She seized the opportunity, leaned her body backward, and Yang Gang, who was struggling, could not find his balance and finally fell to the ground. Thump! Of course, Mu Xiaomo also fell down, but he still clung tightly to Yang Gang's neck. Yang Gang was struggling to breathe. In a hoarse voice, he said, I lost. Upon hearing Yang Gang's voice, the surrounding classmates were initially startled. What? Yang Gang actually admitted defeat. The military training instructors actually lost to a freshman. This is absolutely outrageous. Upon hearing Yang Gang's words, Mu Xiaomo abruptly released her grip on Yang Gang's legs. He staggered to his feet, then squatted down, braced himself with his palms, and pressed down hard. With a crack, the sound of the bone realigning itself was heard. That's right, Mu Xiaomo just dislocated her arm. When he first started practicing Sanda, Chinese kickboxing, he was often beaten, and his arm was frequently dislocated. After doing it many times, he learned how to reconnect it, and sometimes he could even dislocate it to break free from some constraints. Although the cost was a bit high, it was a small matter to him. After standing up, Yang Gang also stood up. He suddenly felt a little embarrassed. Having served in the military for 8 years, I was actually put to the ground by a college freshman. It would be too embarrassing if word got out. Actually, Yang Gang wasn't afraid of losing face, mainly because his favorite female instructor was still there. However, Yang Gang is not the kind of person who can't accept defeat. He admits that Mu Xiaomo is a promising talent with amazing skills. So he said, classmates, I lost the match just now and I lost completely. Please give a warm round of applause to Mu Xiaomo. P.S. I'm not good at writing fight scenes, so please bear with me. Sorry. Also, I'm begging for some flowers, free gifts, and 5-star reviews. I'd be eternally grateful. Chapter 32 should be your potential boyfriend, since you already have feelings for him. After hearing Yang Gang's words, many students finally realized what was going on. The image of Mu Xiaomo kept replaying in the minds of the girls in journalism class 1. The moment he rode on Yang Gang's shoulders was absolutely so cool. Not only is he handsome, but he's also incredibly skilled. I'd feel so safe and secure if I could be his girlfriend. Good. Brother Mo is awesome. Holy crap, Moji, I love you to death. I want a fencing with you. Young man, I have a scabbard, and I feel that your sword can fit perfectly into mine. Would you like to get to know me? Splash, splash, splash. Immediately, the surrounding students burst into enthusiastic applause. Both the students in robotics class 1 and journalism class 1 were impressed by Mu Xiaomo's performance. The fact that they were able to defeat the instructors, something almost impossible, happened right before their eyes. It felt truly surreal. However, this really happened. This is Mu Xiaomo's strength. In a corner not far away, Zia Yaoyu witnessed all of this, and her eyes began to light up. She murmured, as expected of my little Mo brother, he's amazing. Mu Xiaomo slowly walked to Yang Gang's side. The two shook hands, and Yang Gang smiled awkwardly. Xiaomo, I must say your skills are indeed excellent. I have lost. No. Mu Xiaomo shook his head. He knew that it would be very embarrassing for Yang Gang to lose in this situation. Yang Gang is a man who cares a lot about his image. After all, the girl he likes is still here. So Musayo Omo said, "Instructor Yang, it's all thanks to you letting me win this match. Don't deliberately throw the game next time." Upon hearing Musayo Omo's words, Yang Gang realized that Musayo Omo was giving him a way out. Thinking of this, Yang Gang's liking for Musayo Omo increased significantly. He smiled and nodded. "Haha, okay, I won't go easy on you next time." Musayo Omo nodded as well. At this moment, Yang Gang couldn't help but look at him a few more times. "Have you practiced before?" "Yes." Musayo Omo didn't hide anything and said, "I practiced Sanda Chinese kickboxing for 2 years when I was in high school. Otherwise, how would I protect my girlfriend in the future?" "Haha, you're right." Yang Gang smiled and said, "I am very happy to have the opportunity to exchange ideas with you today. Zyro Mo, do your best in university. I believe you will definitely make a name for yourself in the future." "I will." Soon, Musayo Omo picked up the vest from the ground, put it on, and returned to her original position. Huang Wengsu and Du Yang quickly made way for Musayo Omo. After sitting down, Huang Wengsu poked Musayo Omo's sweaty arm. "Damn, Mo, you're really something. You even took down the instructor and dislocated your shoulder. Is your arm all right?" Musayo Omo smiled gently. "It's nothing, it's just a small problem. If anyone bullies you next time, just call me." "Okay, I'll call you if I get beaten up." Du Yang rolled his eyes. "Huang Wengsu, look at you, so pathetic. With those 200 pounds of flesh on your body, who do you think could beat you?" Yes." Ning Ning Musayo Omo was so handsome just now. Heart suit, Omega heart suit. After watching Musayo Omo's performance, Liu Weiwei finally couldn't help but speak up. Mu Baining ignored her, and Liu Weiwei continued, "You must have been incredibly lucky to find such an outstanding boyfriend." Mu Baining rolled her eyes. What was that dog Weiwei doing, barking like a dog again? However, Musayo Omo did perform quite well just now. Although Musayo Omo said that Yang Gang had gone easy on her, she could still tell whether he had or not. Regardless of whether she had given him any leeway or not, Musayo Omo's behavior certainly surprised her. The students in the front row were all taken aback when they heard Liu Weiwei's words. "What is that?" "Is Musayo Omo Professor Mu's boyfriend?" "This." It was only then that Mu Baining noticed that the students in front of them were from her class. Damn it, Liu Weiwei really doesn't think before she speaks, and she doesn't even consider the occasion. "What would my classmates think if they found out?" She quickly said, "Liu Weiwei, how many times have I told you Musayo Omo is not my boyfriend?" "Ah, right. Liu Weiwei nodded. "He should be your boyfriend. After all, you already have feelings for him, right?" After Musayo Omo and Yang Gang finished their sparring match, it was already 9:30 p.m. The time for the school to require the school to disband has arrived. So Yang Gang stood up, raised his right hand, and shouted, "Students of Robotics Class 1, listen to my command and assemble in front of me within 10 seconds. Everyone, get moving." 10, 9. Upon hearing Yang Gang's command, the students in the class immediately got to work. Musayo Omo stood outside the line, and 10 seconds later, the students in the class were in line. "First row, count off. 1, 2, 3, I'm the 6th one." Upon hearing Liu Kaian's voice, Yang Gang immediately looked at him with disdain. "This guy's really getting cocky. Liu Kaian, step forward and stay behind to do 200 push-ups." Then Yang Gang turned his attention to the students. "Students, you did a great job today, both in the military training and tonight's social event. Especially Musayo Omo, she taught me a profound lesson. Enough with the chit-chat. Everyone go home and rest early tonight. Don't forget to eat breakfast tomorrow morning, or you'll end up fainting from low blood sugar like Bai Yuntao." Did everyone hear that? "I heard you." "Why is the sound so soft? Did you hear it?" "I heard you." "Okay," Yang Gang nodded. "All right, everyone disperse. Go back and get some rest. We'll meet here promptly at 7:30 tomorrow morning." "Good." As soon as he finished speaking, the students began to walk back to their dormitories in small groups. Just then, the journalism class 1 disbanded, and many girls spotted Musayo Omo and flocked over. Soon enough, they had completely surrounded Musayo Omo, Huang Wengsu, and Du Yang. Of course, their target was Musayo Omo. "Brother Zyro Mo, may I add you on WeChat? I'm really interested in you." "Musayo Omo, I'm the class monitor of journalism class 1. I'm 172 cm tall and have a 36D bust. Can I add you as a friend?" "Young man, my scabbard is missing your sword. I feel like we'd be a perfect match. Do you have some time later? We can go to the Grove and give it a try." Chapter 33. Where can you find a scabbard as beautiful as mine? Hearing the sounds around her, Omo was stunned. It seems like something strange has been mixed in. A scabbard, a longsword. Is this even legitimate? It seems that boys also need to take good care of themselves when they go out. Seeing that Omo showed no intention of taking out her phone, the girls around her did not give up and continued to pester her. Because there were a lot of people here, Omo felt something soft bump into her when someone nudged her. "Holy crap, that's awesome!" Huang Wengsu exclaimed with delight. At this moment, the happiest people were none other than Huang Wengsu and Du Yang, because a girl, for some reason, suddenly squeezed into her arms. Seeing this, Huang Wengsu also kept squeezing into a girl's arms. Since there were many people around and no one was paying attention to him, he figured he could take advantage of the situation while he could. Not far away, Mu Baining stared at Omo with disdain. Her expression was as cold as ice, but there was a moment of confusion in her eyes. Mu Baining didn't expect Omo to be so popular. After all, if a girl doesn't absolutely like someone, she won't take the initiative to ask for their contact information. The fact that these girls were willing to ask for Omo's WeChat shows that they have been deeply attracted to her. Thinking of this, Mu Baining gradually became worried. Mu Baining agrees with the saying that it's easy for a woman to pursue a man. Besides, there are many pretty girls in the journalism class 1, so there's a good chance that Omo might be snatched away by another girl. Seeing this, Liu Weiwei couldn't help but ask, "Ningning, your fiancé is so popular. Do you think he can resist the temptation of good looks?" Mu Baining did not answer Liu Weiwei's question, but instead frowned and observed Omo's every move. "Hey bro, just add me on WeChat. Please do me a favor." "Yeah, adding someone on WeChat won't hurt you. And besides, where can you find a sword sheath as beautiful as mine?" At this moment, Omo was somewhat at a loss. If he hadn't been bound to the system, he probably would have already added a pretty girl on WeChat. But with Mu Baining by his side, he knew he couldn't do that. To avoid giving the girls around her any lingering feelings, Omo simply said, "Sorry, I already have a girlfriend. If your boyfriend were surrounded by other girls like this, you wouldn't feel good either, would you? Please move aside." Omo's words seemed polite, but her tone was extremely cold, especially the last sentence. "Please move aside." His serious tone made the girls around him feel uncomfortable. After learning that he had a girlfriend, some of the girls were disappointed, while others felt helpless. Soon, the crowd slowly dispersed. Seeing this, Mu Baining, who was not far away, nodded with satisfaction. "That's pretty good. But if you added other girls on WeChat, your skull would probably be spinning." Seeing that Omo hadn't done anything to disappoint her, she was in a good mood. At this time, her roommates were all around her, and Mu Baining gave up the idea of talking to Omo. She looked up at Liu Weiwei and said, "Weiwei, it's getting late, we should head back. Aren't you going to talk to your fiancé?" Liu Weiwei looked down and saw Mu Baining looking up at her with disdain. She quickly realized what was happening and said, I'll take you back to the dorm right away." Huang Wengsu, standing to the side, stared wide-eyed after the girls had all left. "We haven't had enough fun yet. Why are you leaving already? You know, the girl he just flirted with was busty, had long legs, was young and beautiful, and he even regretted not asking for her WeChat." He glanced at Omo and said, "Brother Mo, damn, you're amazing. So many girls were throwing themselves at you today. How come you weren't moved at all? If I were you, I would add you on WeChat at least a few times." Upon hearing this, Omo rolled her eyes. "Who do you think is a player like you? By the way, didn't you say you wanted to add Han Samil on WeChat? Go add her now." "Oh, right. Huang Wengsu only remembered when he heard Omo say this. He quickly ran off to find her Han Samil. Omo and Du Yang exchanged a glance. "Do you think he can add Han Samil on WeChat?" "I feel he can't." "Me too." Back in his dorm, Omo went straight to the bathroom to shower. He looked at his arm. It was bruised from blocking Yang Gang's punch. "It hurts a little when you press it lightly." "Ding, congratulations on completing the mission. You have obtained Body Potion X1. Body Boosting Potion. Increases the host's speed, stamina, explosive power, and duration by 100%. Upon hearing the system's explanation, Omo was taken aback. "What is that? Improving speed, endurance, and explosiveness is still reasonable. But what's with this time? Used during human creation. Can the system extend something like this?" Just as he was wondering, a bottle of medicine, about 300 milliliters in size, appeared in his hand. It was in a glass bottle, and the potion inside was light blue, with many sparkling glitters like dancing fairies, so dreamy. Without thinking twice, Musayomo opened the bottle cap and gulped it down. It tasted good, similar to a Rio cocktail. It probably didn't contain alcohol. After drinking it, Musayomo felt warm all over, but there were no adverse reactions. At this moment, the system's voice appeared again. Ding, your host system has changed. Your data has been updated. Host Musayomo. Height 185 cm. Increased by 3 cm with body potion. Age 19. Appearance 100 out of 100, but the average appearance of readers is plus infinity. Speed 260, normal person 100. Endurance 300, normal person 100. Explosive power 415, normal person 100. Time 60 min each reader's time plus infinity. Skills exceptional singing voice, exceptional guitar playing. Cash balance 103,150. Seeing the new data panel this. Time 60 minutes. Could it be that there are only 30